All right, here we go. It's opening day, BlizzCon 2017. Imagine a stage bright with lights. Out comes the man you're used to seeing, Mike Morhaime. He's got his nice little shirt on, them bowling shirts. Maybe it's green this time, maybe it's red. Who knows what color he's representing? And then he says, I'm not even going to say anything, guys. I'm just going to go to this movie. Lights dim. And then... It's the Murkromancer, and everyone's getting it. It's going to be the new hero in Diablo 4. It's going to be the star of Heroes of the Storm. It's going to be the new class in World of Warcraft. That's right. We're taking it all the way. If you don't know what the Murkromancer is, we're going to tell you all about it tonight, because the name of tonight's episode is episode 126. Murkromancer, cutest pet yet? Question mark?
Question? Not sure. Yes.
The question mark's supposed to be on the teleprompter?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
But yes, we are very excited because at this point, essentially, all has been revealed for BlizzCon 2017. We know our schedule, we know our BlizzCon in-game goodies, we know who the concert act is going to be. We know a lot, so we're going to dish out all of that to you, and we even have news regarding Diablo. Notice how I separated those two things out there, because BlizzCon is not for Diablo, although we're just kind of, just kidding a little bit. There are some Diablo panels we'll tell you about as well, but we do know now Season 11 end date and Season 12 start date.
That we do.
Get your hype train ready to roll.
I am,
Mr. 9.
Yep, I'm excited. I'm definitely
Are you chugging?
I'm
Are you
getting
chewing?
Yep. I'm just hoping. This is definitely one of those ones where I think I am going to appreciate the Thursday opening as opposed to the Friday opening, just because that is the weekend of Justice League, and so I am going to be working a lot that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So you'll get to get your Diablo and have your crazy weekend too.
Yeah, so it pretty much is like Thursday will be like my one chance that weekend to actually play for Season 12.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, you spoiled the little tidbit that we had there for the opener.
Oops.
But that's okay, because I have plenty of rage for that when we bring it back up officially.
Or hatred.
Maybe I'll be disciplined about it.
Don't be wrathful.
Got a lot of fury, though.
You just have to make sure that you hold on to the essence, of the season start.
That's the spirit.
Yep. Just find the way that you can maybe get like the arcane energy to power through it.
Man, yeah.
I was definitely going, and this is like the game of Jenga. It's like I'm not gonna take that piece. I'm gonna position it for you to take that piece.
Yeah, you really left me with a rough play at the end there. And I toppled the whole thing.
I couldn't find the mana.
There's got to be a pun. I'm sure someone's gonna find a pun there.
I'm sure.
You reminded me though that I don't know why, but there's this popular thing going around where whenever I see a bar that has a lawn or like an open seating area, or an outdoor seating area or something, there's like life-size Jenga everywhere now. Have you been noticing this?
No. I haven't.
I would think, especially in Florida where you guys have good weather, it'd be a thing. But yeah, out here, I guess maybe they're like, these are the last warm days, bring out all the long games. But now, yeah, big Jenga is a thing. And you have like these, it literally looks like someone just crafted Jenga out of a bunch of like 2x4s or, bigger than that, I suppose. And people are just like pushing these things down drunkenly.
That sounds pretty interesting. I wonder how that game scales, to like life size like that. How that works.
You gotta like have two people just ramming, like punching the thing to try and get it out.
All right, with this one, you have to actually punch, the bricks out. No pushing. You have to punch it.
Punch out. just like Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy! All right, well, I think we've done a good job of already derailing a little bit.
Yes, skipping topics, as we so love to do.
It's very weird. Good at. So let's bring it on back. How have your weeks in gaming been?
Mine have been pretty good. I do have to say, since the last episode, my internet has not improved any. I've had Comcast out again, and no improvements. And yeah, waiting on them to come out another time. You know, it's because last time they came out, they swapped out the modem router combo thingy, and it didn't help. And so yeah, it's like oh, I guess it must be a problem with the line. Oh, really? Yeah. There's nothing I can do about that, so I'll have to come back. Oh, son of a bitch. So, yeah. I am some ways away from having good, decent internet. So, depending upon how that goes, yeah. Might be looking forward to Season 12, doing softcore. Just for that. I guess we could talk about more of that once we get to the Season 12 topics. But otherwise, I've successfully put together not barring... I don't need internet to play games in real life. So
hey.
We're making headway, and we went through and put together our first kind of like pseudo-official like Warhammer Tournament League. We're doing 5 matches spread out across a couple weeks. And then a finals with the top lists. And right now I'm 1-1 out of my 5 matches. 1-1, lost 1. I'll have to wait and see how the rest of the brackets go to see where my placement is and if I make it into the playoffs.
Oh, nice. That's cool that you actually got off the ground. Remember last time we got together, you were it was just a dream, a twinkle in your eye.
Yeah. We're looking at potentially going through and forming like the actual gaming club itself, but that's something that I'm probably honestly just going to have to push all the way until January, because BlizzCon's coming up, then Thanksgiving, the holiday season, you know, at work is just going to be... This is a big movie season, so things are going to be crazy. And I'm just not going to have any time in order to devote towards it, so it's just going to have to wait.
Yeah, it almost feels like we're going to go off topic a little bit again, but it almost feels like Hollywood took a break, it felt. Because I saw some, elevator fact or whatever that was like September was the worst month for the box office this year than it has been. Maybe it was either ever or in like the last like 50 or 100 years or something crazy like that.
It was the worst August in 16 years. And it was the worst summer in the last 6 years.
There you go.
This is actually the highest grossing September ever.
Oh, okay.
Solely because of it. It broke the record.
Yes.
It broke the record, I think, like with 5 days left to go in the month. So it actually it pushed it. It pushed that record even further.
That's pretty crazy.
For anyone keeping count.
But yeah, it just seems like so I guess it was the summer more that I was thinking of, but it seems like summer was just so dry, and maybe they were just saving all their bullets for the fall holiday season. Yeah,
I mean it was the first time in I can't remember. I think it was like the first time in almost 10 years that they didn't have a wide U.S. release on Labor Day, which is usually one of the best days in September. So it started off bad, but then it blew away all expectations in the box office. All of them.
What did?
It.
Yeah, what is it?
Who's on first? What's on second?
Oh, I love doing that. It's so annoying, but it's so good.
Yeah, I like it the first time you did it, and you were legitimately asking, what's it?
Wait, what do you mean? It doesn't translate as well in text. I was really like, wait, what is it? What are you talking about? What do you want me to see? Gotta love it though, right?
Oh yeah, totally. It's the bomb.
Oh man! All right, so you got your league. So keep us updated on your league results.
Will do.
How many matches will you have played by 2 weeks from now? Are you just doing one a week, or?
We've given it. It's 5 matches. We've given it 4 weeks just because some people can only play on the weekends. And everyone has their brackets for the person that they're playing. We didn't really have enough people to do, or like the timing and stuff like that. This is actually a busy time for a lot of people down here in Florida because we're beginning to gear up for our like tourist season when everyone comes down from up north. So a lot of people are just going through and are busy with their time and schedule and all that stuff. But normally it's you try to pair off the winners as you go down the bracket, but we decided that we'll just do set brackets. That these are the 5 people that you're going to play in any order that you want. Just get your 5 games in by this date. Then we'll take the top lists, and then we'll do a single elimination bracket from the tops of the people there, like a week or 2 after that.
Okay.
Try and get that all done like on a single day. And so that's just like what we decided for that. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to get enough other outside people involved from outside our little gaming group to actually get like a one-day event, like rent out like a room somewhere, because the guy at the local game store has already went through and offered, he'll give us all of his tables. He'll supply a ton of scenery so that we can get some nice good games in and such. Because also,
Sick.
cross, kind of a cross promotion for him, and we just have to see and probably do another 1 or 2 of these little events as we gauge interest and just try and get more people involved.
Sounds like you got all the basics down, so only grow from there.
Yeah. It's really fun. It's been a fun project to work on, and I hope that it's successful and that even people that start losing some of their matches continue on through to the end, because of course if people that all of a sudden just drop out can kind of ruin it for everyone because other people can't get their matches in.
Yeah,
it breaks down the brackets.
Truth. Stay in there.
Yep.
Speaking of staying in there, unless you have more things from your weeks in gaming?
No, that is pretty much it, unless you want me to talk about Mother some more.
Oh, God.
For those of you on YouTube and iTunes, it might be worthwhile going through and checking out the Twitch highlight just to go through and see. We had a rather in-depth discussion about how bad of a movie Mother was, but until then, never mind.
Before you said movie, I feel like people could have just been thinking you were talking about Mother, like, oh yes, that's Mother over there. She's been quite bitchy.
Mother's calling.
Reminds me of Arrested Development.
I was thinking Psycho.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Keeping it in the movie wheelhouse, I like it.
Moving on.
Right. Yes. So, yeah.
Never mind.
Oh,
nope,
this guy.
That was bad, and I feel bad.
I thought you were going to go cows with it. Moo. Keep it D3 related, or Diablo related. So yeah, I was going to say, speaking about sticking in there, staying in there, the grind is real. The last couple of weeks since the show, I've been just pushing as much Paragon through the door as I can get before the season ended, because the last time we got together, we had no clue when it was going to end. We had some inkling, some thoughts, some ideas, but no concrete evidence. And of course, now the next thing we'll talk about will be the end of season 11 date that we received. But yeah, so I had been grinding to try and get as much as I could for that solo Demon Hunter softcore project I've been working on. Right now, I'm sitting at, I want to say, a little past 1250. This past weekend, the goal was to get up to 1250. And I was at 1175 on Friday, so like I went crazy over
That's
the
a
weekend.
grind.
Yeah, it was. On Monday, I felt it. I was like, "Holy crap! Why am I so tired?" Oh yeah, I know why I'm so tired.
Especially doing the whole thing solo too.
Yeah, it's slow. Especially after I almost feel like I ruined solo seasons for myself after doing the big group season, because now I know just really how slow it is. Like if you had the ignorance of what groups could really do, then maybe like, this solo thing, like it's probably slower, but how much slower is it really? Like, yeah, dude, it's mad slow.
It is mad slow.
It is a grind. So that was fun. The stream kept me entertained and music flowing in also kept me entertained. And then we got that warning, and that was kind of what propelled me to really go in on this weekend, because we got the warning last Friday. And I decided to do all the UE grenades preparation that I was saying I was going to do, because that's a set I wanted to push on. I hadn't played it much, besides I think maybe 5 or 7 greater rifts in the non-seasonal time when the Necro had just come out. And I am still figuring it out. Like, I think my gear's okay. Everything's ancient at least, and augmented with about rank 90 gems. So it seems like my character's in a solid spot, and I'm trying to get Greater Rift 93 down currently. That'll be the next, rank up for me. But man, it's such a... After you've been playing I looked back in like the history of what I've been doing, and I've been playing Shadows for over half a year. Yeah. Like straight, basically. So to go and do this now, it's so foreign. It feels really weird to play a normal, quote unquote, Demon Hunter build and be successful with it. Because even though grenades is interesting in that you kind of play it in melee range, because you have to, get your slows from Bane of the Trapped or Fan of Knives, which are all going to activate in melee range. You still need to back out so that your UE 4-piece doesn't fall off, because as soon as that does, you're actually very vulnerable.
Then you lose a lot of damage.
Exactly, yeah. So it's twofold. It's both sides of that coin. So it's weird to kind of be in there. You're watching your COE timer. You're like, okay, here's fire. Just nuke, nuke, nuke. All right, back out, and hopefully you've not screwed up your rotation so that you drop, the UE 4-piece right as fire's coming up, because then you're kind of trying to stay in, but now you're not doing maximum damage, and now you're taking maximum damage. You know what I mean? So it's just really sketchy. So learning that kind of flow of battle has been interesting again. And right before we started the podcast, I had done a 93 in 15 minutes and 2 seconds. Yep. Oof. So that one kind of stung a little bit. I mean, it lets me know I can do it, and I didn't have a great rift, so I gotta get good, man.
Gotta get good. Best gaming advice in the history of gaming.
Get good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And then here on out, until the season ends, should we reveal that date?
Just do it. Hit it.
October 20th. Oh wait, did I give it away?
At 5 p.m.
Yes, so that is a Friday, next Friday, not this coming Friday. Although by the time you hear that, maybe it will be this coming Friday.
Yeah.
But yes, October 20th, so we're about 10 days out right now from the recording of this episode. And Season 11 will be in the books. Like Nine mentioned, 5 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Blizzard time. It all ends, and so we really are in the end of days. If you haven't gotten your seasonal journey done, if you haven't gotten that stash tab, you really you can't put it off much longer.
Better do it. Better get on it. Get on.
Are you going to be able to get your seasonal journey done?
I don't know. Honestly. My internet, I mean, I might as well just, like, we've got the time breaking down now, so I might as well just do it. And if I die, I die.
Hey, it's over, right?
Yeah, it's like, might as well give it a shot, so see if I can get it done. And yeah, it's like, it's just every time I go to log on, it's just like the internet is just like, oh god. I'll go and I'll play Heroes, and it's like, I'm doing good. Okay, made it through one match. I'm doing good. Log into the other. All right, level 1. I can't pick a talent. All right. Okay, reconnecting. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go get a drink. Come back. Okay, I'm level 3. I've already picked a talent. My build is fucked. Well, GG, guys.
Man, you're playing on hard mode.
I am, apparently.
The game's too easy for this guy.
I mean, thankfully, I only play, like, quick match. I don't do, I don't do ranked or, Hero League or unranked, but, yeah, if I did, I'm sure that people would be reporting me left and right.
Man, that 9-ball guy is friggin' lever.
Right? Man, Grief. What a dick. I swear.
What a dick.
What a dick.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, so for the people who were not yet in the know, now you know, Season 11 ends October 20th. Get it all done. and that weekend you'll be able to work on your rollover, getting all the seasonal stuff transition to your non-seasonal. And you probably want to, because at some point 2.6.1 is going to come out and you want to be able to hit the ground running, so that you can use all those set pieces that you earned in the season that you've been saving up to hopefully get you to farm very quickly for the next stuff, the Blade of Prophecy that you need to replace, or the Jecking board that you got to get.
Yeah,
and I guess we should... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's because a lot of those items you're going to have to go through and refarm to get the new impressive ones. So that's something you want to go through and get quickly on. Just get some practice with those new numbers if you didn't play the PTR at all.
That's right. Help you maybe make a decision on what you'll play in the season. Because I've seen a lot of people just being like, dude, all the choices are good. I don't know how I'm supposed to decide. And maybe a little bit of non-seasonal will help you rule some stuff out.
Yeah, it'll at least be some stuff that you can go through and practice with. You know, see if you can get it, you know, kind of get the feelers out there. I mean, it's a lot that we talked about with Season 11 and, you know, going through and getting the Necromancer. How many times do we warn people, like, play the Necromancer before the season? It's, you know, it's not like anything else you're going to play. It's a lot different, so give it a try. You might not like it, and you're out your Haedrig's gift already, you know, so. That's
true, yeah. So we should sandwich this news with the other side of things, which people probably really want to know, is when does Season 12 start? And in that same blog that we got, we learned that Season 12 is going to kick off November 9th, 5 p.m. Pacific, Blizzard time.
Sorry, what date?
Oh, November 9th! Didn't even realize.
There you go. That's what I'm here for. You know, I don't do much on the show, but I will at least point out every time that you say 9.
We need that. We got to keep us honest.
Someone has to do it.
Right?
It might as well be me. For what reasons? I don't know.
For dickish reasons.
I like it. I can accept that. I can accept that.
And like you were saying at the outset of the show, the November 9th date is a relatively interesting one, because that is a Thursday.
And
Thursday starts...
Yeah, this is one that also caught me off guard. Just because it's like, oh, it's a Thursday again? But apparently we missed it when they announced it last season.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone else keying in on the fact that Thursdays would kind of be the going forward way to do this, but that was what, when I saw the blog go up and the end date and the beginning date and all that stuff, I was like, oh, Thursday again. I wonder if this is the status quo, the new norm. I don't know why we're doing Thursday, because everyone was looking at last season's Thursday as, oh, well, it's a Necromancer. It's definitely going to throw some kinks in there. Potentially they're anticipating a lot of people not doing non-seasonal and waiting for the season to then jump in, play Necro, so maybe like big number, and, you know, all that is a nice mix for potential disasters. So yeah, start on Thursday, have Friday to put out any fires before the weekend hits. And then this time around, we got the Thursday again, and I'm just like, well, I mean, like, patch 2.6.1 has a lot of set changes, but it's number tweaks. Like, how much really could go wrong?
Yeah.
And so I was tweeting some things out, and the Diablo account itself actually got back to me and noted that, you know, no, when we set it in, like, 9, you were just talking about, when we set it in the last, you know, notice for Season 11 start time, we were kind of telling you guys, hey, Thursday is the way that we're going to start these seasons now.
That is going to be a permanent thing now. So seasons are now going to start on Thursdays as opposed to Fridays.
And the reason behind this is so that they can have the staff on call during normal work hours. Which makes...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it makes sense, because that way you don't have to have somebody on call, or maybe an overtime. Actually, no one's minion brought up this point originally, which I really liked in terms of trying to get behind the reasoning. And she was saying that, you know, probably in the past, if there was Friday starts, someone had to be there maybe on Saturday, maybe even on Sunday, and that's probably banking some sort of overtime, you know, things in the budget. And say now that D3's sunsetting or maintenance mode or whatever term you want to throw out there. Maybe it's not in the budget to have someone be there on call like that to pay them, you know, the extra dollars, as opposed to just moving the start of your season and having it fall within normal hours of what you expect your workers to be. And so you kind of like normalize the budget or decrease the budget as things move forward. You know, who knows how much they're actually playing around with the dollars like that, but it kind of sounded palpable.
Yeah, no, I mean, that definitely makes a lot of sense, and it's, like, not even just in that respect, but you look at, like, World of Warcraft. Like, World of Warcraft, everything's done on Tuesdays. You know, like, middle of the week. The resets, new content patches and stuff like that, it's always on Tuesdays, whereas, like, with Diablo, you know, we kind of, they've done, like, with us, the big patches aren't like that really big draw nowadays. It's like, okay, cool, we got the Necromancer, we get to go through and play around with it, that's awesome, we've got all these set changes, like, that's all big, cool, and awesome, but everyone's energy, like, their drive, is the season start. Like, it's like, okay, I got the Necromancer, I got some playdown, but now I'm really waiting for that season start to come along. You know, and so, and it's just always been Fridays, you know, and so now they're going through and changing it. Like you said, that could very well be due to just monetary or budget concerns. I do also wonder, like, if some of it might be to because they might have fewer people working towards that side of, like, like, kind of like the network engineers for the Diablo 3. They're working on, like, the Diablo 3 project. Maybe some of them are tasked elsewhere. Maybe on another unannounced project. I don't know.
That's a good theory too. Yeah. So then, you know, if your numbers are kind of spread thinner, then you got to do more with less, and so you don't want to necessarily spread out all the things that you're doing. So yeah, you could be onto something with that too. Yeah,
I'm sure. All in all, it probably makes just a, you know, Occam's razor. It just makes more sense that, you know, it's easier for the employees, it's less man hours, and better for budget to do it on a Thursday.
Yep. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution. But here's the thing, though, right? You mentioned that a lot of the community's hype is behind the seasonal start. And I have to say, in surveying kind of the response to this and people kind of becoming more aware of Thursdays being the thing going forward, what I saw was people eventually being like, I get it, but I did see a lot of, I don't like it. So there was some understanding behind, like, why they're doing it and it making sense for them to do it. But a lot of people just being like, well, you know, there goes kind of my binge. I might do a 24-hour play session, or, you know, I have friends who we all kind of decide we're going to take, you know, the weekend to really just not do anything, cancel the fishing trips or something. But now you're really making a decision between, especially for a lot of the working professionals, because I kind of feel like Diablo has an older crowd, if you will. Like, I'm sure there are probably plenty of teenagers, college kids, etc., that play. But I think there's a decent amount of people that are also, like, working professionals, etc.
I mean, this is the 20th anniversary year for Diablo, so it tells you people that have been playing for the series for a while. Yeah, you know, pretty much they're all, you know, that age. Right.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we've been growing up with the series, and kind of all have these, like, life responsibilities and such. So, like, you're deciding at that point, then, do I take a Friday off? And how many, like, I guess if there are 4 seasons per year, now you're dedicating 4 Fridays to not being part of whatever extra vacation you might plan or something. And maybe in the long span, the long run of things, it's not that big of a deal. But at least right now, because you're so used to how it was, it's kind of hitting harder.
I mean, a lot of it does come down to, I guess, like, the psychological response to it, you know, being on a Thursday as opposed to a Friday, because there's still nothing that stops you from taking that Friday and the weekend off and still going through and putting a ton of hours, you know, into that season opener. And then if you're playing with a set group of friends, just everyone not playing Thursday, you know, you all make the agreement, well, we'll all just hold off to Friday, you know, go through and do it and such. But then even if you're never going to play with anyone else besides that core set of friends, or you're just doing it solo, you don't care about the leaderboards, you still feel behind.
Yeah.
Because I miss that first day. Even though, in the grand scheme of things, like you said, it doesn't really matter whether you play Thursday or not. If you're not going to go for the leaderboards, or if you and your group of friends all decide to start on Friday instead, it still has that deep psychological impact that I now physically know that I am behind because I did not start the day that it launched. And it loses that impact. It loses that steam, or that really big feeling about going through. And it's like, because it does have that specialness to it when you're doing it like the day that it launches. Like I'm on there, right the second it goes live, to go and start, kicking demon ass and taking names and stuff.
Well, even think about when we were first starting our seasons and such. One of the things we were doing along the way was opening up that friends list and be like, oh, Hot Streak in his group, they're level 30 and we're 35. They're catching, they're gaining on us. But you might lose a little bit of that camaraderie competition if, Hot Streak's group starts Thursday night and your group starts Friday night. Now there's just one less element that's as exciting. And like you said too, it's unless you're chasing those.
It's like you log on Friday night and you see that there's 3 people in the clan already Paragon 800.
The way we're going and with these sets and stuff, this season, forget about it, right? I feel like if you're rank 1 conquesting, it matters a lot.
Oh, certainly.
You need the best start possible. But like you said, if you're not, if you're just kind of casually doing it, or you're with your friends, technically it doesn't matter that much. But I think if one thing we do have to acknowledge, though, is the way a lot of people play this game is the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the season are where they really get all their hay in the barn. And if you take one of those days away where everyone starts at level 0 and you kind of feel like you're on an even playing field, even with those elite streamers that'll play 16 hours a day from here on out, that's just one day less in that small window where you're kind of able to hang with the big boys or whatever. So, if you're, if say that's 14, say it's the 2 weeks, right? And that's 14 days, you're now 1/14th shorter of that. So, I think you made a great point, though, with the psychological feel of it. And it could be that as we get further away from this sort of change, this watermark moment or watershed moment of it changing, it might not be as big of a deal. But at least right now, it feels like it's hitting.
Yeah, but that the specific way that you just phrased it, that it feels like, I think that's something that might not ever go away. That might just be like a permanent thing, because no matter what, it's always gonna feel the same. Trying to like start on Friday when it launched on Thursday. You'll always feel behind, that you missed something, and so I guess that'll just be maybe if they go through and do it long enough, it will become the norm, kind of like with, WoW, and everyone just, it's just like with World of Warcraft, it's just always been Tuesday, and so that's just what the community knows, and that's what the expectation is. Maybe they will get into it, a year or two down the line, that, it's just Thursdays,
I guess we'll have to see what the repercussions are as we go along.
It'll be an interesting one to track the responses and how people feel about it from now, and then fast forward a year from now.
Yeah, well, so we should do a year in memory or something, and go back to what was the hot button issue? Oh yeah, last time it was the Thursdays are coming for season starts, and I hate it. And now the next thing will be like, why are they changing it to Wednesdays, or I don't know.
That's all that they need to
workshop.
Do. Yeah, change it. They'll change it to Tuesdays too.
Just keep going. They're just nudging it a day each 4 seasons. Oh goodness, just preparing us. That's too funny. One thing that we can kind of use our tinfoil hats on, though, is we know the end of season 11. So here's one bookend, and we know the start of season 12. Here's the other side. So where between that window do you feel the patch is going to drop?
I actually feel the 24th is a pretty good guess. The 24th, it's the week after the season ends. They don't really need to stretch it out any longer, and it gives them a full week to actually work out any issues before it's all hands on deck at BlizzCon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted you to say something different so I could be like, let's debate. But I'm right there with you on the 24th. It seems, I think we've had a couple times to, actually the latest example, when the Necromancer came out, that season ended, Friday, and then the Necro came out that Tuesday, and we were like all caught by surprise because it was like the last day of June. And the Necromancer came out. We're like, what? Yeah, already? Really?
Was expecting them to stretch it out a little bit longer, but no, they were ready and rocking to go. And despite a lot of my misgivings that the Necromancer might not be entirely ready, that it might need a bit more supporting items and such, and then look, it's the highest Greater Rift clearing class in the game.
Imagine if they gave it some more supporting items.
Yeah.
Be out of here.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Oh jeez.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, I think you're right. I could totally see the 24th being very viable as a start date for 2.6.1, and then actually what it probably really would do for them is give them a week while they're paying attention to see if any bugs or kinks are there. Then they go and turn attention to BlizzCon. Players are still playing for another week or so, getting more testing, bugs, etc., and then they can come back after BlizzCon, hit things pretty hard. And then by hopefully that Thursday, they got rid of, any major things that need to be hot fixed and just get it rolling.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And something to, I guess, combating anyone that might think it could be the 7th, because I feel like a lot of us are ruling out the 31st just because that is the Tuesday within the BlizzCon week. Mm-hmm. If you think it might be the 7th, I was talking to Bagstone, who's over on the Diablo fan side of things, writes some forum posts and such, and also Reddit quite a bit. He mentioned that if they did it on the 7th, it actually would screw up other regions, which I hadn't even thought about. So, like, American, I'm like, me. But Europe would get it on the 8th because they always get it the day after. And then Asia would get it even later, and the season would legit be starting in the Asian region. In the Asia region, can't speak, maybe like 4 or 5 hours after they had just patched. So yeah, it actually doesn't even make sense for them to wait that long to do it.
Yeah. That is all pretty strong evidence for them going through and just hitting it up immediately the week after the season ends.
And I'm all for that. More time to mess around on some Barb, some Demon Hunter, try and figure out what the hell I want to play for Season 12.
Mm-hmm. I already know what I'm doing.
You're a man.
I'm just gonna Pestilence Necromancer my way through the season.
Oh, you are? You know what? I thought you were gonna lean towards your Marauders.
I kind of wanted to. I kind of did, but it's just like, nope. Corpse Lance is calling.
Corpse Lance answer the call of the corpses.
Yep, I have to answer the call of the corpses.
Man, well, all right. So we will have a Necromancer expert for all of Season 12. Excellent.
And it's also it's one of those ones where it's like because with the state of my internet, because I probably will be playing softcore next season unless something magical happens. The fact that you start with the Tragol set makes me feel it's like, well, maybe I can go through and give that a shot, because like I know Blood Mages is actually, it's a really powerful speed clearing build that I shied away from on hardcore.
On hardcore, yeah.
Yeah, it's just anything involving the Tragol set, just kind of stayed away from. It was a little bit too risky for my blood and my internet, but it might be something worth giving a try. And so it's something that I will definitely appreciate if and when internet. God. It's triggering
Fingers crossed for you, man.
Yeah. This is definitely, don't get me wrong, I fully understand that this is first world problems, but oh man, it's bad.
I feel you, man. We'll just have to hope and pray. Get the Comcast gods on your side.
And that's what they are.
They really rule.
Yeah, but while we're on the topic of Season 12 and, the Haedrig's Gift, do we want to do like a quick rundown of everything that they have to offer, or what you can look forward to if you want to start planning out your Season 12 now?
Yeah. Let's keep updating the peeps. I think we ran through it last week, or last show, but definitely doesn't hurt to reiterate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
something to just drive home from now until then.
Yes. And we even had a question from Watson, although I guess he was asking about the rewards more of like the what the seasonal journey rewards are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what are they? Oh, the druid wings.
Yep, the druid wings that were renamed.
Yep.
Yep, and then you also had kind of like the druidy portrait frame.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So those are your complete your chapters 1, 2, 3, 4. Mm-hmm. Get that going. Your Haedrig's Gifts, if I can recall. Barb is IK, which a lot of people are pretty excited about because IK Hoda is looking like it's going to be probably one of the top things for Barbs. Crusader is Seeker, which isn't the greatest start. Not very speed-oriented setup, but one that you can probably tuck away for later once you get your Icons. And either pop it back out if you want to try some GRs with Seeker, but I think pretty much everyone's just gonna want Icons for both speed, GR, mid-tier GR, like everything's gonna be out of the Icons, which sounds so weird to say right now.
What season is this?
I love it, man. Demon Hunters, Gnats, which a lot of people aren't as excited about anymore. And it was weird because I guess it was mainly just the N6 M4 that everyone was pushing forward as this strong combo. But it turns out that N6 just on its own isn't very illuminating. Like it's definitely better than it used to be, but a lot of people aren't really hyped on it as making in the Greater Rift stuff.
I actually saw a tweet from Desolacer earlier today that he was talking about, will Season 12 be the return of the Armageddon Demon Hunter?
Was that the Nats one?
Yeah, that was the Nats that used, I think it was Vault Trick Shot in order to go through and proc the cooldown. It was using the dual Denettas and the Vault Trick Shot to trigger the cooldown on Reign of Vengeance.
Reign of Vengeance, interesting.
Yep.
Maybe he'll be the one to lead the way.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to test it, right?
That's right. I have seen some people though saying, starter builds for it shouldn't be too bad at least, because as long as you can get your Reign of Vengeance off cooldown to trigger the 6-piece damage bonus, then you'll have a nice multiplier, and then combine that with maybe a Fan of Knives or even a Carl A's point. But if you can, of course, get your hands on Yangs and a DML, then you're already on your way, because you can just multi-shot, like have Reign of Vengeance just working in the background doing its thing, but then use that as a multiplier for your multi-shot, which both those items will have their own multipliers for multi-shot, and you should be able to clear quite nicely until you get your UE set up, and then just go full ham over there.
Yeah, those weird little cross sections that you can do and only make sense, the first couple of days into a season.
So beautiful.
And that's
its ugliness.
Right, but that's one of the things that's just so fun about it.
Just all the wacky comments. Like, even I remember, I still think fondly back to our early days of Season 1, Season 2, when it was just you and I, man. And, the first thing I found was, like, the Roland set, and I didn't want to play Roland's, but it was like, hey, there's no Haedrig's Gift. Like, you use what you get, man.
I think it was the season that the Seeker of the Light set went live. I went and played a Crusader, and as we were going and playing through, and I found the what was it, Johanna's argument, the shield that buffed hammers, and I found at like level 40, and then it was just like clear sailing from there.
It's like, please carry us.
Yeah.
Lead the way, Nine. Yeah, it's so funny that sometimes. I mean, that can happen a little bit, but it's definitely sped up in the current seasonal play these days. But it's so funny how, back then you were like, man, you got a God drop. We're going to be good for like the next 10 Paragon levels, and maybe we'll find, Torment 2, get some set pieces together.
Oh, the days.
Think back fondly. All right, so where did we leave off? That was Demon Hunter. I'm trying to actually do it alphabetically. So next is the Monk. And they're getting Ulianas.
Yep.
It's a particularly weird start because they need a lot before Uliana's gets going. With the Flow of Eternity, the Fist... I mean, I guess you technically don't need the Fist of Aztarask right away. The Lion's Claw certainly helps. The Belt for the defensive part of that can help a lot too. So I don't know. That one I've always seen people say, like, once it's set up, it flies. Once you get the Ingeom and all that. But early going, it's going to be a little weird because you just won't have, like, the CDR requirements.
To really make the build sing.
That's right. And then next up is the Necro, which you mentioned. They get
Traggle's avatar.
Yes,
gonna
indeed.
go through. There's going to be some playing around with blood.
Oh, there will be blood.
There will be blood.
So that should be a great start. I think a lot of people, even though I feel like there's a bit of OD on the Necro, I saw a lot of people just like not even voting very highly for, you know, what class will you play in Season 12? Like not much love for the Necro, but that's going to be such a strong start. You almost, if you're a slave to wanting the best bang for your buck, that might be the way to go.
Yeah, it's because Traggles, it's like you won't be using what you find in the Haedrig's Gift as your pushing. But, you know, it still just has a lot of really good builds. Like, the Blood Mage is excellent for speed farming and such. So it's a very powerful start.
Yeah, it's almost like if you can find one Necromancer to be in your group, then even then, you know, just...
I guess it's like, that's like the one thing. Like, all of the Necromancer sets, they're relatively like basic frameworks, so that way you can just put in a couple of like key items in almost any set and take off with it. So there's not really like a bad set for the Necromancers to start with the recent buff to Pestilence.
Pestilence, yeah, that's actually a good point. I hadn't even wrapped my head around that yet. Yeah,
they really have no bad options, honestly.
So always be a good pick. Necro OP! And then, going down the line, Witch Doctor. They're getting Eric here, and that got buffed.
And that one's already a great start for going through and getting yourself set with speedruns.
And once you can get, like, your hands on turn it into a chicken, then you're really off to the races.
Yeah.
So not too shabby there. And then last but not least, this one I've been seeing not as many people excited about, Wizard with Veers, but I think because of just like, you know, you and I have mentioned it on the show several times, like every time a PTR patch comes out, Veers getting some buffs, Veers getting some buffs. How come no one's using Veers? Veers getting some buffs. Like, well, let's stop. Like, we're gonna make these numbers big until you can't deny that this set is okay.
you have to. You have to play it.
Veers is just like, senpai, please acknowledge me. Oh my goodness. So I think I've seen some enterprising individuals being like, it's actually at a solid point where as a starter set, it's not bad at all. You just pop into Archon and you should honestly clear some decent stuff and be able to farm into whatever you need after that.
Yeah, you just go in there and kill stuff.
Go destroy the demons. So yeah, that's what you got to look forward to for your Season 12. Wow, 12. Yeah, Season 12 Haedrig's Gifts.
Yeah, getting up there. Count's getting pretty high.
Gonna be a moody teenager soon.
Yeah, and it's getting there. Oh god. Wait till we get to Season 16. Well, they're just a rebel without a cause.
Season 16, I'm just thinking of like my Super Sweet 16 thing of like, my set last season was better than this one. You didn't even get me a bigger set this season. I want a pony.
I have no response. I have nothing.
You like that?
Hey, thank you for joining us on this episode of Westmarch Workshop. We're ending it here.
Yeah, all right.
No coming back from that.
Splice, edit, delete.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that is.
I got something if you want.
Yeah.
That's not as bad.
No. It's okay. One's all you get.
Oh, okay. I'll be quiet.
Spider-Man. Everyone gets one. But you did a pretty nice little write up there about like the season 12, the Haedrig's gifts and the conquests over at Diablo.blizzpro.com. And also, speaking of BlizzPro, there's a little bit of congratulations in order.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yep. It's definitely a little shout out to Dreadscythe. I believe he is still in the channel here. Dreadscythe is the new site manager over at Diablo.blizzpro.com, going through and getting the lockdown on the news and information over on our home site's info source. So everyone give a nice round of applause for him.
4 more years. 4 more years.
Oh God. Yeah.
Of Dreadscythe.
Of Dreadscythe, yeah.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear.
Yep.
But yeah, congrats, Dread. And he's already been kicking butt, updating the site as soon as the info comes out and already tagging us with all this work. God damn it.
Yep.
But yeah, shout outs to the Dread.
Yeah. And with that, moving on to our next topic. What did we have next here?
Well, we can mention that we got a couple of blue posts in the last few weeks since we did our last episode, and most of them refer to PTR stuff because that's still going on in the background. One of the things that we were just talking about was hopping in there once the patch goes live and testing out if you want to play Barb or Demon Hunter or whatever. But also on PTR side of things, you can still get in there and test stuff out. Numbers are still changing because even after our last episode, there was a PTR update, and we were like, there's probably going to be some bug fixes and things, but they're actually still tinkering with set numbers, with legendary item power numbers and such. Really trying to hone in on the balance of this set is outperforming, and so therefore it's throwing all our balance off. Like, you're only going to use one versus maybe a question of 2 or 3 builds. So there was, some lowering of like Whirlwind and like the Meteor channeling stuff for the Wizards, and the community kind of went up in arms about it. They're like, what? Just cause one guy pushed it to 118, like why are you going to nerf it? And Don Vu actually on the weekend came in and levied a post just kind of talking about the process of how they look at the PTR, the information that they have on their side in terms of they can actually see beyond just the one clear that we might see. If someone pushes, and this is actually a point that I think Wyatt kind of made to us one time and we have reiterated on the show, but they see all the clears, right? We only see the leaderboard, what your best is. Yeah. But if you also cleared, with Raycore 116, 117, if you also cleared with Wrath of the Waste at 118, and then you also cleared with IK, a 116, we're not seeing any of those 116 clears, right?
Yeah, we're only seeing what your best clear was, even if you missed the other one by just a couple seconds with something else. So they have a lot of data on their side that kind of allows them the wherewithal to either push up or push down some numbers just based on what they're seeing. And I thought that was a poignant point. I think it's one that kind of is common sense because we all observe that whenever we're trying to push our greater rifts. And, you start out the season in one set, transition to another. It never looks like you started in that other set because those results are gone. But it's easy to forget, I think, when all you see on the PTR is just the top leaderboard clears, and that they think that's all the devs are honing in on too. So that was certainly worth reading. There's a lot of other tidbits in there too. Yeah, it had to specifically address the point that they're not trying to keep the Necromancer at number 1.
That is a big tinfoil hat theory, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of tongue-in-cheek on stream have been like, well, Necromancer's a paid-for product.
Yeah.
You're not going to nerf your product. It's not, you're going to be like, hey, this comes with like 20% less battery power than it used to. Enjoy your fucked up phone. You're like advocating for all the bells and whistles that it's got. But, in order to keep the full microcosm, because let's say you have an amazing Necromancer product, but then the rest of your stuff around that is broken and doesn't like compete or work well, then that's not good for anyone because now no one wants to buy that and play with that. if none of their friends that play other things are going to want to even hang out with them, or you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make for a great atmosphere. So you want to make sure the room is clean and pretty for when you put that one special object in the middle of it as well.
Yep. And I think this also kind of like ties in, segueing here, to another like little news item that we had this week was Travis Day actually published a article on VentureBeat talking about the development of the Necromancer, and this just is a couple of those things going and like looking into that you can really tell, and it's things that he's that the development team has kind of talked before on some of the live streams. But he goes a bit more into a bit more detail in this particular article about like just how much they've learned since Diablo 3 originally launched, and even since like Reaper of Souls and Loot 2.0. And like one of the biggest like takeaways that I had was like just trying to narrow it down. Like you like one thing that I've heard him mention a couple times is like the Demon Hunter. It's like, why does the Demon Hunter have 6 different spenders? Like, you don't need to have that many. And so with the Necromancer, they really narrowed it down, and so they had 3. And so it's like, and then we'll go through and we'll make changes, so that way, you don't have to have there. And I guess like the example that he used in the article was like Bone Spear. You have Fracture, which acts kind of like a fireball, so when you shoot it, it will explode and do like a little AoE damage. So instead of doing like a little instead of a line cutting through mobs, it'll have a little AoE explosion to go through and hit mobs. And then like Teeth, one of those classic Diablo 2 Necromancer skills. What is the essential part of that skill? It does damage in a cone. Well, why can't we just then have that as the rune for Bone Spear and just have it do damage in a cone? Because that's all it is shaping or changing the shape that you do damage in. While acknowledging their mindset that they would have had if this was back at the beginning of Diablo 3, Bone Spear and Teeth would have been 2 completely separate skills. Because it would have been like, back in the early days of development in D3, they would be like, this has to be its own thing. It's like an iconic skill from Diablo 2, so it has to be its own thing, completely separate. Well, it just makes a lot more sense to, narrow down and focus on the particular choices that you have, make those choices more interesting instead of giving you just more choices that a lot of them are just, well, this one does fire damage and that one does lightning, and there's really no other difference between them.
Something that you just gave me a light bulb moment on, 2 different things that you said that combine here. When you were talking about the Necromancer sets and how, like, kind of looking forward, there won't really be a bad Haedrig's gift choice for any of them. It almost makes me feel like, because of the nature of how the skills work, it developed how the nature of the sets worked, because now the sets themselves aren't so tied to needing to support every skill. In the same way that you look and we're like, why isn't there a set for rapid fire? That's why no one uses rapid fire, because it doesn't have set support. But because you only have so many spenders to concentrate on as a Necromancer, you can then take one set and say this was for the blood skills, this one set this is for the pet skills, in a little bit more of a generic sense, and then build around that. And now, you have a spender that's fully supported. Like, there are no unsupported spenders in the Necromancer's set kits, but at the same time, it's still pretty open-ended. So it really, I guess, showcases what you were just saying, was the lessons that they've learned.
Yeah, because I mean, this also applies not just to, like, in the article it was talking a lot about the skills, but it doesn't apply just to the skills. It does also apply to the sets. That they've had 5 years of working on Diablo 3 live in the environment and how it goes through and works, and the 3 years of going through and working on Reaper of Souls specifically, and how they developed the Loot 2.0, and they've like kind of like honed in on the game being based around sets, and they've had all this time of balancing and creating new sets and seeing how all these things interact, and they just combined all of this collective knowledge into the Necromancer, and it just came out as a much better and developed class than the others just because they had more experience doing it, you know. And that's something that they would if you wanted to go and do the same thing to like the monk or the demon hunter, you'd have to like drastically change the class and gut a ton of skills and change the functionality of the sets, and then you'd basically like be undoing all this years of, you know, work that people might have been putting into their character, or just remembering certain playstyles and such.
You know, it's kind of funny if you think about the catch-22 that almost exists. If the Necromancer came out and it wasn't as like clean, streamlined, strong as it is, you would honestly probably see Reddit being like, have they learned nothing in 5 years and can't even develop a class?
Yeah.
But they actually did like such a good job that now everyone's like, Necro's too strong, man. Like, why don't they just tone it down? Like, why is it work so well? So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like they have done a good job. If anything, I feel like maybe and again, like the next game D4 or whatever could be so drastically different from the environment that we have for D3 in terms of development and such. But if anything, this should give you like at least a little bit of they actually are learning from what they've done with the course of D3, like you said, in the live environment. And now hopefully they apply those ARPG lessons or those sort of more general pillar lessons of class design, set design, and take it into the next project.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one, like you're saying, like everyone should go through. If you're a fan of Diablo, you should take a look at the Necromancer and how great a job they did on it, with just the way that the class plays, feels, the effectiveness of the sets, and how they... Like, the Necromancer has a lot of variety of playstyles because the sets are, you know, built around just like that generic framework that you can take in tons of different directions. Like, you know, the Tragols, you have Blood Mages, you have the Blood Lancer, and you have these ones that's the same set, but extremely diverse playstyles. And it's just, they've learned a lot. They definitely, it shows that they've learned a lot, and as you mentioned, whatever they do next, you know, whether who knows, maybe they might do another class or some other major update down the road, or maybe they're just taking all of this energy and, you know, we're gonna do the Diablo next, right? You know, it's like they're gonna take all of this, you know, collective information, and imagine if they were to go through and make a new game and all of the classes were like the same playability that the Necromancer was.
Oh man!
And all the open-ended builds and specs and playstyles that you could have from there.
To dream a dream, right?
Yeah, because this is like one of the changes in the philosophy of how they've tackled development for the game. You know, from launch, or even not even from launch, but from Reaper of Souls. You know, like with the Crusader. You know,
as recently as Reaper. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Crusader had definitely suffered from some things where there was some overlap because they just wanted to rebuild, you know, a lot of iconic stuff from the Paladin. And there's like one paragraph in particular that I wanted to just quote here from this VentureBeat article. This is from Travis Day. One thing I really wanted, for instance, was for everything in the Necromancer's kit to have a strong clarity of purpose. I remember reading through all of the curses that existed in Diablo 2 and thinking, these are redundant. There was one way to amplify damage, another to lower resistance, another to decrepify. Ultimately, they all did the same thing. They made the guy you're attacking die faster. And so it's one of those ones where it's like, it gives you the semblance of a diversity, and like the semblance of choice. But in actuality, it really wasn't. They just, you did more damage, and then they died faster. And so that's what it, you know, came down with like frailty. You know, it's like you don't have, it basically is amplify damage and lower resist all together at the same time. They take more damage. And then, you know, decrepify, weakened, blind, all those other ones, that's just the current decrepify, where it, you know, lowers the amount of damage that they do back to you. And then, you know, I guess they only had Blood Tap as the one actually, like, healing curse, and that became Leech. And so it was just funneling all that down into just a couple choices. What do you want to do? You want to survive, you want to add, like, a group buff, or you want to do more damage? There you go. There's your choices.
There it is. Break it down to the basics. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing about this too is it looks like there's going to be a part 2 coming out tomorrow, because one of the things Travis mentions at one point is like, well, I could tell you about all the stuff we did with corpses, but that's going to be something for another article.
Speaking of exploding corpses, I'll go into more detail about how we figured that out in the second piece on Thursday. He mentioned a little bit about like the corpse skills in the game, and like he said that I'll talk more about the development of corpse skills. This one has me really interested, obviously, because, well, I've come to realize that I have a thing for corpses.
Oh my god. That's only appropriate on a Diablo 3 podcast.
I'm not even sure it's appropriate on a Diablo 3 podcast, but we'll run with it. I've said it. It's out there. I guess I should never run for any type of elected office with that quote being out there. Well, then again, never mind.
Yep, you're good.
It hasn't. That won't stop me from anything.
Nope.
Current year political joke. Anyways, but there's a lot of work that went into developing the corpse mechanic within the game, and so I'm really interested in going and checking that out and seeing what everything that they did with that, and how they got it working, and the difficulty and challenges for coding items becoming resources.
Yeah, it should be good. This almost feels like a lightning talk before all the lightning talks.
Which is I will be interested in seeing if I didn't see anything on the BlizzCon schedule about lightning talks. If we'll still have something along the lines of those set up somewhere on the show floor, or if we just grab some developers and it's like, talk to me.
Impromptu lightning talks.
Yep.
Yeah, good point. Not sure on that front. We have a quick hit and a thing here, just because by the time our next episode comes out, this will be super late in the game. But Diablo teamed up with Loot Crate to do a little promotion. So there was a tweet that they threw out there where if you buy October 27th, sign up for the latest Loot Crate and use the discount code Diablo in all caps, you can get 15% off, which I think normally it's like $30-something, so that knocks it down to like 25 or so. And there's going to be an exclusive Diablo item in there. And I believe both of us have signed up for this at this point, yes?
Yeah. I quote Brad Pitt, what's in the box?
What's in the box, man?
What's in the box? I gotta know. I have to find out what's in the box.
I need to know as well. So, how about this? We unbox our boxes on the show. Can you wait that long? I guess technically we won't even get them until, what, November?
I think so. Yeah, we won't get them until at least after BlizzCon. Because you have until the 27th to order them. And I've never done a loot crate before, so I don't actually know when they come in.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
It's a brand new experience.
How long do you have to wait? Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we'll unveil together. I like things. I like Diablo things.
Tchotchkes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I want more pieces of flair.
I mean, you have to have more pieces of flair, and I'm just gonna move out of the way. I mean, I got all my Diablo stuff just hanging out in the back there. I have almost every of the old school Diablo 2 action figures. You can't see it; it's outside of the camera frame. But I actually have the Necromancer action figure and the Tyrael sitting up top there too. Love to just go through and add more crap onto the nerd showcase back there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yes, it. My favorite has to be like back in there is actually they have like the Minion of Destruction, one of Bale's minions. But my favorite by far has to be the Unraveler, like the mummy.
Like
the guys that resurrected all of the undead ones, and they had the highlight hook as a hand.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't played Diablo 2 in a while. Maybe that's something that I need to do in between the season.
Well, I mean, they're gonna surprise us with the remaster at BlizzCon. So.
Oh, right, totally. That's what they're gonna do.
Duh.
Yeah.
just wait.
Yep. We're getting Nevelistus is going through and saying that it seems that they've paired up with Geek and Sundry for their show, and that seems, I know that they just did like a recent visit where they were going through and recording some stuff with Darren DePaul, who does the voice of Reinhardt, and apparently it seems that he loves Diablo, so that should be interesting.
Nice.
When does that episode actually go live, or is it already live and I've just completely missed it? Well, as we wait for that answer.
Yes.
And while we're speaking of BlizzCon, we've got the schedule for the events itself.
That's right, yeah. Some of the things we teased in the opener here, we have a lot of BlizzCon news, and one of the main things that you want to, of course, know is what Diablo panels are there. We have the full schedule, so if you are one of those multi-franchise people, if you like WoW and Heroes and such, definitely check out the BlizzCon.com website. It's your one-stop shop for everything, virtual ticket, schedule, gear, like anything you want to know about BlizzCon, you can go there for it. But yeah, schedule. We have 2 Diablo panels.
2.
One on Friday. Yes, 2. Count them 2. One on Friday, which I think will be particularly interesting, especially from my main man 9 here, because he loves his Necro. Visual effects of Necromancer on Friday, November 3rd. That's at 2:45 p.m. Pacific. If you're on the floor there, know where to go. And this is going to be a 30-minute panel. And I guess they're probably just going to talk about more sort of retrospective, what it took to get certain things to work. I could imagine some Revive maybe being in here.
Yeah, from exploding corpses to undead armies, join the Diablo 3 developers as they discuss the visual effects that bring the Necromancer class to life.
And there you go.
Yeah.
With all the flavor.
Yeah. That will definitely be interesting. And of course it kills me that the Diablo panel for Friday happens to coincide with the author showcase, where you actually get to go through and join some of the authors of the Blizzard novels as they get to talk about the whole process of actually trying to make the games come to life. So like the one of the lore panels coincides with the Diablo panel.
Dun dun dun.
Yep.
Somebody was thinking of you.
Apparently.
How can I screw him over?
At least the one small thing is in that same hall that the Diablo panel is in. If anyone wants to come and hang out with me on Friday, in that same it's the Heroic Hall, which is Hall A level 2. So I'm guessing that's upstairs. That'll be on the. I'm guessing because we don't actually have a map. We have the event, but we don't have the map. But I believe the Hall A level 2 is up on the 2nd floor. There are like subsections labeled like A, B, and C, and it's in one of those side rooms over there. They have Lorecraft, the art of storytelling, where you get to hear and talk to the Blizzard lore masters and storytellers to discover how they actually go about building the fantastic worlds that we get to play in. So I will be sitting there and enjoying that one, and then rolling into the Necromancer panel.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
And we can mention now, unveiling, yes, Westmarch Workshop Meetup. Not on the official schedule, but make it part of your schedule. We mention this now because it's going to happen directly after the visual effects of the Necromancer panel. We figured most of the people in attendance who are going to be Diablo fans will probably be at this panel. So you can just come and hang out with your boys from the Westmarch Workshop. We're gonna gather close to the panel, and if we do attract a large crowd, we can certainly migrate to an area that makes more sense. But yeah, we're just gonna hang out. You'll hopefully be able to get some pictures if you want that. We can sign things and/or body parts. Maybe
there's a choice.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically, if you are Jar Jar Binks, it's a requirement that your body be touched by Nineball.
Oh, God.
So know that will happen.
Can we go back to the corpse jokes?
Those are a little more tame for you?
Yeah, definitely. I can take those a little bit better.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and hopefully we're trying to get some, speaking of tchotchkes and things to have and collect, we're trying to get a little something for you guys too, entice you to come on out and hang with us for a little bit. So if you do, you might get some goodies from the Westmarch Workshop.
Mm-hmm. And Dread went and put so much love and work into the little poster frame for the, as he's calling it, the Conversation Part 2, Revenge of the Ogchilds. It could be the Conversation Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. But yeah, just when you thought the nonsense stopped and the puns seemed to be dead and buried, we're necroing them back, doubling them too. Join us for one tubular moment to the next. Hashtag blame Archon, and what a dick. This is going to be tubular to the max in Bitch and Kitchen off all these hooks. Great minds, so ancient, we're primal. Come meet with the Westmarch Workshop crew and other community members at Blizzcon, Saturday, November 4th at 3:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the North Hall Level 2, right after the panel.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Dread, for putting that together. A little propaganda poster for us.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be going through. I guess it's because in previous years we've always just kind of piggybacked like the Westmarch Workshop meetup off of the BlizzPro meetup. This will be the first time that we've actually had like our own like full official little meetup there.
Yeah, branch off and see, you know, what we can collect. Because I remember one of the awesome things from last year was right as everyone was about to disperse, we had just played Code Words. You know, people were like, all right, going to be done for the night, flights in the morning, etc. And we kind of just got a nice community picture. You know, the Reddit mods are there, Cool Story Bro, ourselves, and some other just, you know, people from the Diablo community, and got a great picture. And Wyatt was there as well, too. So it'd be nice to kind of have that, but even more organized and more, you know, Diablo-centric.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're going for.
Yeah. It definitely would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. I'm already super excited.
That makes two of us, man. That BlizzCon is easily, like, you know, Christmas is coming, but this is Christmas to me too, as a Blizzard.
Yeah, BlizzCon is my holiday.
Right? Festivus for the rest of us, and BlizzCon for the cons.
Yeah.
For all us.
Something.
We'll work on that one. All right, and then of course, continuing, we did mention there are two panels, not one, count them two. On Saturday, you're gonna have to come in on Saturday. There's Exploring Diablo's Community, and that's also at 2:45 p.m. Pacific time, of course. Another 30-minute panel, and a little special something about this one. I'm gonna be on it.
Yay!
Woo! So this one I'm really excited for, of course, and I'm not a paid actor. I'm not here to say that, but I'm actually really excited because we are going to talk about what it is to be a content creator in this crazy thing known as the Diablo 3 community. And myself, Riker, Big Daddy Den, and Linksaria will all be on stage there to kind of dole out some infos on, you know, how we developed our communities. And I think it's kind of cool because everyone sort of comes at it from a different way. Like Linksaria doesn't make any YouTube content, but of course, Big Daddy Den, I mean Riker, you know, is like the king of YouTube when it comes to the Diablo community. So you're kind of getting different perspectives from what we all concentrate on. You know, Linksaria streams a variety of games. Riker gets into a couple of other games here and there, but of course Diablo's his main thing, and spread into Overwatch a little. Big Daddy Den is literally the longest running Diablo 3 stream in existence. The man has barely deviated. I think he plays Warframe like twice a year or something. So, you know, it's really coming at it from a bunch of different angles. And we have the podcast, so that would kind of be my angle as well. And
it's really interesting that I actually did just recently just do a search for Diablo 3 while I was trying to find the soundtrack for the show real quick on YouTube. And Riker's channel was the first one that came up above the official Diablo channel.
He has cemented himself.
Right?
Yeah, man. The man knows what the people want, and he gives it to them.
It's that voice.
It is that hey folks. I can't do it.
Folks. Yeah, just that soothing voice. I can't do it justice, so I won't even try.
I think we need to be Canadian to even access the DLC for that.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right.
Yep. So sorry.
Not sorry.
Sorry, eh? Not sorry. But yeah, so yeah, and all those, by the way, because one of the biggest complaints in previous years was virtual ticket didn't cover all the panel stages and such, and it was kind of a bummer. But all these panels will be covered on the virtual ticket. So if you were even on the fence or wanted a reason, we're going to give you another one in just a moment here. But you know, if you want to see yours truly, want to see some delicious Diablo content of the bit that we've got this year, then maybe you check that out.
And that at least kind of like wraps it up for the full extent that we know of so far for the Diablo panels. We'll of course be there on the floor going through checking it out. There's a lot of small like little in-betweens like the cinematics department, the lore and story, the authors and stuff like that. So it might be some other like little tiny tidbits or hints, and of course there's just running into the developers on the show floor, going through, grabbing them, and talking. And if you all think that we're not going to ask them questions about what's next for Diablo, well, we might already know the answer and that they can't talk about it. But hell, we'll ask it anyways, just so that way that question's put out there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And maybe one of them will slip up and be like pony beers. Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about that, but yeah. I guess, like, the one last thing for the BlizzCon proper itself is we now know the closing band.
Yes!
Muse is going to be going through and closing us out for BlizzCon 2017. They're the final act for the show. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, dude, I love Muse. Muse actually... I have such a weird connection with this band because going back to high school, when I was first playing Diablo 2 for the first time, at the same time, I was also playing a game online called Triple Triad, which is derived from the Final Fantasy VIII world. There was an online version of the card game, and I met a friend, her name is Kimmy, from the UK, and we were always talking music and games and stuff, and one of the bands she was always trying to put me onto was Muse, and I was like, oh, this sounds like British, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But eventually I got into them, and she was always trying to get me to go to a concert, and I kid you not, the day before this announcement came out of the blue, I was just like, I want to see how Kimmy's doing, because I don't know, like she just had like some kids and stuff, and I hadn't talked to her in a while, so it's just like, hey, how's it going, what's going on? And then they announced Muse, I was like, Kimmy, I'm going to a Muse concert, you won't believe where it's happening.
Finally.
Oh my goodness, it was just such a weird sort of slice of life, serendipitous moment. It's like, all right, I like that.
Yeah.
And as a Guitar Hero 3 player, of course, Knights of Sidonia was a song that drove me crazy. So I'm looking forward to seeing them play it. Maybe I'll hop on stage with my Guitar Hero guitar.
I was just talking about that with a buddy of mine, that actually the one time that he went and saw Muse in concert, they didn't play Knights of Sidonia.
No.
And it's like, you can't tell me that. You can't say that.
Oh man.
Like if they don't play that at BlizzCon, I'll be saddened. I'll feel as if I'm missing something.
They got to, right?
They have to. It's like, someone tell me it's in their contract.
I even feel like if they don't, we just stand there, even if we're the only two ones like left after everyone's walked away, and go into like the myriad or whatever, and just go Knights of Sidonia. And they're just like, dude, we unplugged the amps, man. Like, what do you want?
We'll just get up on stage after they're done and just like hold out like just some speakers. We'll get like that 80s boombox and just hold it up and just start playing it.
Like making like the galloping noises ourselves and stuff. You guys, come for the Muse concert, but stay for the 9-Ball Leviathan concert. It's gonna be great.
It will be good. In one way or another. It will be a story. We guarantee that. It'll be a story.
That's right. Story time with 9-Ball and Leviathan. Oh man. Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm ready to talk about this because, man, I told you I fell in love with someone. I met someone in just the last couple of days, it's been a great relationship. It's been mostly online. We haven't talked much in person. A few times, just been a couple of exchanges of words here and there. But the Murkromancer, it's my new bow.
Yep.
And for those not in the know, let me tell you about my bow, yo. Getting the BlizzCon in-game goodies. It's as easy as either having a code from buying a virtual ticket or going to the event yourself with a physical ticket. You will get a code attached with that. You attach that code to your account, and when you log into any of the franchises, you'll get some sort of BlizzCon-related reward. For us Diablo fanatics, it's the Murkromancer, which is on screen right now, and I can't even. You just take over now, because I'm just gonna stare into the eyes of my loved one now.
Isn't he like the cutest thing ever?
Look, he's even got the Necro here.
He just has like the little Necro hair. He's holding a little BlizzCon tag. He's got the little shoulder bone spike thingy. I mean, like, who could say no to that face?
No.
Look at it. Look at him.
I'll give you all the legendary drops.
You just like go and walk alongside you in your adventures through Sanctuary.
Take him on long walks in the desolate sands.
Yeah. So if you were wondering whether the virtual ticket was going to be enough for you as a Diablo fan, just look at that little guy. I would say so. Mm-hmm. Pretty awesome reward, I must say.
Hey, it's like we always joke, you wanted microtransactions. There's a $40 microtransaction for you.
Yeah, and you get a Muse concert out of it too.
Hey!
Yeah, well,
for free.
Yeah. Pretty
but
awesome.
Fun fact, if you have a code already attached to your account, you can log into the PTR and the Murkromancer is there.
Mm-hmm. So if you've already purchased the virtual ticket, or do they send? Have they? I think they've started sending out the BlizzCon tickets themselves, which should also have the gift code for redeeming your virtual rewards online.
Yes.
So that way you can go through and get those. With the Murkromancer, you will have to wait until the patch itself goes live. So you'll have to wait a little bit, at least a couple more weeks before you can have access to it on live. But if you activate it and add the code into your account, if you log on to the PTR, you can go through and check them out.
In all his glory.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you just mentioned too, if you have that attached, I think this is the reason why they must have started to roll out the codes already, because now the BlizzCon Gear Store pre-sale is live as well.
Oh yes, yes indeed.
So beat the rush, beat the lines, beat the sold out of everything, because I honestly believe once this goes public, a lot of these items will be tough to get unless you're there for the restock when it's on the show floor.
Yeah,
you're gonna want to hop in.
And just from experience, like if you are going to BlizzCon, don't wait until you're at the convention, because there usually are a couple extra items at the convention itself that they go through and premiere that you can only buy there or at the open sale after the convention's over, when they'll open up like the everything else to everyone for whatever is left over. So like just plan your luggage accordingly and order it now, have it delivered to your house, and so that way it just sits there. You don't have to worry about taking it on the airplane, stuffing it into overhead, checking it or whatever, or like going through and just playing luggage Tetris. Just get the stuff now.
Hey Nine, how are you getting this print home? Because is this a carry-on item, you think?
I just walked that stuff on. No one stopped me.
Not even death.
Not even death can stop me.
Yeah, don't play the, like, Monstrous always did this to himself too. He'd be like, well, I wasn't going to get anything, but I got 5 posters. Now I have like 6 tubes, my luggage. The Canadian Mounties are going to be after me when I cross the border again.
Yeah. I'm sad. I hope that there is like the restock on the show floor. Like the one thing that I think we both missed out was that cute but deadly Diablo figure. It was the little statuette. They actually from a couple years ago they had the little cute but deadly, but he's only like that big. And this one, like, I didn't even get a chance to check it out, so I don't even know what its dimensions are. But it says colossal, and it's like $50. So I'm imagining something maybe like that big, if not larger.
Ooh. And you know, that one was sold out even, I want to say was marked as sold out as soon as the sale went up, unless there was like 2.
Right?
Yeah. Like instantly. So yeah, hopefully that's maybe like a, hey, restock exclusive or something.
My big one for this year, actually, my favorite is the pub glasses. I go through and add it to my collection of Diablo cups. Yeah, I like the the Halls of the Blind T-shirt that they're doing.
I knew you were gonna like that.
Yeah,
that seemed like a 9-ball shirt.
It definitely, that one is a 9-ball shirt.
You literally have lore on your back.
Exactly. I am super excited in order to go through and get my hands on that particular shirt. It's just it's just so awesome. It's like a nice little kind of shout out to Diablo 1 in the whole 20th anniversary of Diablo and such. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I've been meaning to up my Diablo shirt game because I've been upping my Twitch shirt game, as you guys can see for those watching live. But I haven't really gotten a lot of Diablo merch, and none of the shirts have really like spoken to me the way that Halls of the Blind one's speaking to. So I'm hoping there will be like just a shirt of like a demon hunter like ripping through the chest of like some demon or something. I would totally buy that instantly, wear it to work. But the thing that spoke to me the most in this pre-sale was the desk mat, because last year I didn't get one, and then we went and saw Nevelistis's office, and she had that thing spread out. It was legit like taking up her entire horizontal space on her desk, and I was like, God damn, that's sick. And I'm so happy that they're selling one this year, because I actually think the design for this one is even better than last year's.
It is awesome. I wanted to try and get like the web page up, but for whatever reason I was having problems with the image capture to try and get the web page. I couldn't get it working in time for the show. I'm sorry.
Shucks.
But yeah, I wish there's a lot of really awesome products and stuff there for BlizzCon. And if you have the virtual ticket, you get access to all of it. So even if you aren't going to the show, if you have the virtual ticket, you can buy everything for BlizzCon for it. And you can buy the goodie bag, and you get a discount for it too.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, we were mentioning the pre-sale, so the actual full sale for everyone, or like the access for everyone, starts October 17th. So if you are on the fence or you're waiting for a payday or something, you wanna beat out all the plebs and make sure you get your stake in any of that gear before it does run out. I did notice, did you check out the Series 4 pins? It looks like we have one Diablo character this year, just Zool.
Yeah, it's just the Necromancer there to go through and get him. So that greatly simplifies my pin collection needs. But I think my hunt will be a quick one this particular year. I think it was like just. I think it was Zool was actually the only one that I was really interested in the Series 4 this year. And I guess like maybe Alarak and Mercy. I think that was it.
Yeah. I'm a Mercy fan, so I'll definitely be looking for like a golden one of that. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I definitely tunnel on anything Diablo. But you know me, man. I ordered 10 pins, and I know I'm not going to get them all, so I'm already trying to... I sent a tweet to Menegies. I was like, yo... You order any pins, man? You got any of them pins?
Got any of them pins? I know Eldorian has been tweeting that he has spent a lot of... Let's just say Eldorian has spent a lot of money on pins. A lot of money on pins.
I feel like I'm going to be trading with him, too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to go in. I'm going to get some. I will get some. But then I just will basically go through and attempt to trade from there.
Yeah.
Because I have a singular focus.
I was wondering, so I didn't check, and it's something I probably want to check, but I think up until this pre-sale, the Series 3 pins were still on sale in the store. But I'm wondering if they stopped selling them, right? the value of them technically goes up because now you can't get them anymore. So I wonder if we could even get like a 2-to-1 kind of trade thing at if I bring my dupes from last year, I'm like, hey, I got this Reinhardt, you can't even get that anymore.
Yeah, there's potential. The other thing is I haven't seen them talk about it, but last year they actually had Blizzard employees would be walking around, and if they had pins on their lanyard, you could trade them. And they would have previous year's series pins to trade. If there was
I've yet to see that.
Something that you missed. But yeah, like you said, I don't think I ever came across anyone that was doing it.
I hope that's a thing, because I have my, the year that neither of us went, I think was one of the first years they started doing it. There was like the Series 2 maybe that year.
Yeah.
And Tyrell's in that year and stuff. So like Sylvanas was in that year. So there's a lot of really good ones.
Yeah. Actually, the Series 3 pins are still for sale on the website.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah.
Ruins my 2-for-1 plan.
If you have some Series 2 or some Series 1, yeah.
Word. So I love this. It's like my favorite mini game at BlizzCon. It's playing the pin machine.
It's almost like pinball.
Hey, or 9-ball.
Ah. 3 Tyraels for 1 Malthael. Is that the exchange rate? Have they done a Malthael pin? Was he last year? I don't think so.
No Malthael yet.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fire one. We got to get that right away.
Oh, yes.
Dainty's just going to have a lanyard that's nothing but Malthael pins.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Or maybe like an alternating Malthael Reaper.
Yeah. But speaking of that, is there any other big things from the BlizzCon store that you're interested in or got your eye on?
Oh, not Diablo related, but you know me. I love my hoodies. I got my hoodie game stepped up to the max. They have a bunch of really nice clothing options in some of the other franchises, and I got to take a look and see what's out there. And they have some Overwatch ones, and the Lucio one is so sick. I mean, it is a black hoodie, but it's got a ton of like green accents, and it's got his like insignia on the back. So I grabbed that. I had to. I don't even play Overwatch, but I was like, man, fuck it.
I actually kind of had my eye on the ugly Overwatch Christmas sweater.
Yes, that looks awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm not really sure I would wear it, but it's like I kind of have to have it
just to own it. If you buy one, I'm gonna buy one.
This is it's like if you do it, I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't feel as bad about spending the money if someone else did it too.
If we both spent money on it, then I don't feel as stupid. So.
Yep. Oh, it's too good.
Yeah.
That does look great. Also, I was hoping that you were gonna say you're gonna get that Murgle onesie. That's got you written all over it.
You're on your own on that one. I'm sorry.
Damn it!
You're gonna have to con someone else into that one.
You saw right through me, didn't you?
Yeah. Not doing that one.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll have to convince Ashton.
I could potentially see that.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for me though. I spent a decent chunk. I probably will spend more on the floor because I do my impulse my impulse purchasing. And there's always, like you said, there's always something they entice you to get. I'm not gonna buy one of those statues though. I'm sure it's gonna be another like $300 like friggin' Mercy statue.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just came out with the Diva one. I'm not sure if they would do another one at BlizzCon as well.
Yeah, so that's probably the one.
Yeah.
That's this year's. I forgot about that, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so much stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, unless you have anything else to talk about BlizzCon related, I think we just have the one more thing with the con before the storm.
Yeah, I mean, technically it's kind of Blizz related, or
Yeah.
BlizzCon related.
Yeah, that's why I just kind of wanted to go through and do kind of like a little cap on that one.
Yeah, let's hit it up.
Yeah, so there you go. We've got the BlizzCon kickoff panel for Con Before the Storm, hosted by World of Podcasts, and we were lucky enough to go through and get invited to go and be a part of that. And my man Leviathan here is going to go through and be repping us on the panel.
Gonna hold down the fort
Uh-huh.
against all these wily individuals. Look at them.
Yeah.
They don't even know. I'm bringing crossbows, blades of prophecies.
You know, since it's like kind of like World of Warcraft, you know, centric and stuff like that, you know, they might actually be prepared for it.
Ooh, Illidan's been warning them for years.
You are not prepared. But yeah, just like we talked about on last episode, you know, just want to go through and push that out there. If you're not going to actually be attending BlizzCon, but are in the area and want to hang out, we will both be at that panel, and we'll be, of course, around in the area a little bit before and a little bit afterwards. Just go out and hang around. So if you are, you know, fan of the show or fan of other podcasts that are going to be featured there, as well as the rest of the panels that they have to offer at Con Before the Storm, they've got a lot to go through and do. They're very community-centric going. If you've never actually attended it in previous years, even if you have been to BlizzCon, it's a really awesome thing where you get to go through and meet a lot of your favorite content creators that are out there doing podcasts or even like YouTube videos, fan art, and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's great. I think it is worth mentioning too. It is 100% free. You just walk into the hotel, you know, pop up to that floor, and you get to just visit all the different rooms. There's art gallery. I think you can even buy some of the art for sale. You know, you'll get a bunch of freebies too. Like, you know, all these podcasts and stuff are trying to promote themselves. So there's wristbands, there's stickers, there's light up stuff. I mean, I got so many cool things last year from it, and it's always an exciting thing. Even as someone who's already ensconced in this world, there's always more people to meet, new podcasts popping up, especially because I personally don't even play many of the other games. It's just kind of cool to see how some of the other podcasts approach their respective IPs and, you know, what they're doing to keep going and keep the episodes strong. You can always learn more, right?
Yep. And it's definitely one of those ones where it's I mean, we what is it? We ran into and met Tim and Dean from Cool Story Bro there. You know, what is it, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yep.
Yeah. And so
Beautiful friendship ever since.
Oh yeah, and that's been a big one. I know that's how Tim and Dean always spend their Thursday nights. Is there at the Con Before the Storm, hanging out, going from panel to panel, chatting with people, just interacting with everyone, like in the halls there and such. And so it's an awesome thing. I highly recommend just going through, stopping by. Like I said, you know, if you're even in the area, not actually planning on attending BlizzCon, just come stop by, say hi.
Get some drinks. It'll be fun.
Yes. Afterwards, there will be many drinks. There will.
Oh, yes. All right. So I guess that we had a pretty solid chunk of news this week, or this show. So I think that does it for us there, right?
Yeah, I think so. We'll still have some more like season 12 prep stuff to go through, cover on next episode. We'll have the second part, or maybe just the part 2 of Travis Day's article series there over on Venture Beat. It'll go through and give us a little bit more hints on the development of the Necromancer. We don't know how long that series is going to be. It'll be pretty interesting. Go through and take a look.
And if our prediction's correct, this will be the Wednesday right after the patch goes live. So for the next episode.
Yes. And but we do before we say goodbye, though, we do have some community emails to go through.
Of course. We did last time get a little cut off there. Great job, by the way, with ending the show.
Again, I'm sorry about that one. Like I said, my internet was poop, and, well, I mean, tonight it's been cooperating a lot better.
Look at that.
Yeah.
The stars have aligned. So yeah, let's get the rest of these emails in here. We are still playing a little catch-up, and we got some new ones here, too. So thank you guys, as always, for submitting missives and things to us. We love hearing from you all. Keep them coming, please. From our Iron Wolf in the sand / over there / wherever he travels these days, we've got a couple of updates from him. So he says, "Sup, fellas. Things are going well here in Central Condors. We're slowly getting to the transition back to Westmarch. Even being July and August, yeah, we're catching up. There's still been some cold days, relatively speaking, with 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Nineball, you know anything about those temperatures?"
I try to purge all thoughts of that from memory.
All right, good. Yep. That's like right now, and it's beautiful. It's seasonal. It's great up here. You should come check it out.
Gosh, we had a nice breezy weather, and it was like 81 today, and that was nice.
Ooh, that
was nice.
Let's see here. So temperature acclimatization is an amazing thing. Yes, I know you're shivering at that, Nineball.
Very much so. Do not like the cold.
Nope. We're all looking forward to the return. With that being said, I'll go ahead and say, so you don't have to, with only a short email explaining the situation, vacation, travel, trips to the Desolate Sands, your clan spot will be held. Life in demon slaying, it happens to everyone, so if you expect to be out in high heavens or the burning hells for 2 weeks or more, shoot the guys an email and all is good. Just look at my inactivity time. PSA complete. And yes, he is correct. If you ever do feel like you need to take a leave of absence from the clan, you're not going to play Diablo for a while, you're going to go over to WoW, you're going to just hang out in IRL, which is an awesome game as well too, then feel free to send us an email or just get in touch with one of us somehow. We'll put a little mark next to your name and your spot will be saved.
Yeah, I hear IRL only has hardcore as an option though.
Yeah, it's, you know, a lot of people kind of shy away from it for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's worth it. It's a rewarding game if you really sink the time into it.
Some people have told me that. I'll wait and see for myself.
You let me know when you hop in.
Okay, I'll let you know.
All right. Still looking forward to playing some Necro when I get back, but I'm still a demon hunter at heart. UEDH to boot. Well, we've got news for you when you get back for UE. Man. Can't wait to see how far this filthy casual can go with just the changes alone. I'm sure other classes are thinking something similar, but I understand the DH UE multi-shot in particular the best. With damage bonuses and the already understood concept of the diminishing returns, could some enterprising gamers figure out if there would be anything to benefit from, wait for it, putting some Paragon points into Vitality? People are already rolling off main stat on rings and consider rolling it off other gear with all the augments and high enough Paragon main stat. Maybe there's a happy medium somewhere? Damn it, guys, I'm a medic, not a mathematician. Oops, wrong fandom. I certainly get that feeling of accomplishment when I can farm T13 efficiently for me. I'm sure if the Torments were expanded, how Nine said that the top grouping will migrate up to the top eventually, especially on the non-seasonal side. I'll get the same sense of accomplishment, it'll just take some more time to get there. As long as rewards are compensated for the difficulty, then all is good. And lastly, on a personal note, amongst all the crap going on in Westmarch currently, I want to thank you all for continuing to provide the same content and break from Sanctuary. Glad to see people focus, min-max, and theorize on something fun and entertaining. You guys are quite the respite in the storm of all the angels and demons swarming in Sanctuary. Thank you. May Season 11 continue, and the goals keep rolling in. Your Iron Wolf over there, Sergeant Psycho. And he did send us an update as well too, but I just wanted to pop into his thought with the Vitality thing. I do feel as though that becomes more and more of a thing the deeper you get into a season and the more geared you get. I think we've touched on this maybe in a recent episode or two, but once you kind of get to the point where your Paragon's high enough and where your augments, especially like think about next season where solo players will even be pushing like, you know, speed 90s, 85s.
Yeah.
And certainly extending into the 100s and 100 pluses, you're going to have those augmented gems on your gear. You know, 500 main stat across each piece. You're definitely going to be looking to roll off. Think about like gloves where you have a lot of powerful affixes, area damage, CDR, critical hit damage, critical hit chance. A lot of these pieces you'll definitely be looking to benefit from taking main stat off or even dropping Vitality off those pieces, getting area damage, and possibly buying it back in Paragon. I think that definitely is a solid gearing strat. It's definitely a late game one because as you have lesser Paragon and lesser main stat, it matters more to just have it built up. But yeah, certainly as you get a bank of it, I think we're really going to see a shift for it for a lot of players that maybe never experienced that before.
Yeah, it all comes down to the scaling. You know, it's just the way that the numbers scale. with relations to one another when it becomes more efficient, that you can sacrifice a couple hundred main stat from Paragon into Vitality.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's definitely like a play around with your numbers and see what's going to give you the best results. Shout outs to D3 Planner. They are amazing for that kind of thing. All right, and let me pop into the update from Sergeant Psycho, just super quick. Sup, fellas? I'm glad to make use of both inside jokes. First, we've made the final transition. After the local Honduras lost their town portal spell, we finally made it back to Central Westmarch. It is indeed good to be back. Now I'm just waiting to access my non-seasonal stash in order to hop back on. But with that being said, 'tis the season to be segueing. Shortly, you really did get him in. I'll shortly have to go to Southern Westmarch for a month in order to get that next level, and then I'll have another month on a well-earned vacation en route to my next post. So yes, lots of moving around, and that's why I won't be on as much as I'd like. For everyone, keep on with the Demon Sling, and I look forward to the BlizzCon recap. Good luck out there, Sergeant Psycho. Good to hear from you, man. Thank you very much.
Yep, that's a long-time listener. I think he's one of the ones that's been sending us in those kind of like at least like almost like one email every month for like the longest time.
Yeah, definitely. Very consistent. Been there since, back when I joined the show, and maybe even before when you guys were just doing it, you and Archon.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like we'd have to go back to one of our other longtime people, Longshot, in order for him to go through and to catalog the number of times he's emailed.
Crunch the numbers.
Yeah, he did the math. But our next email here, this one comes in from Dan. He wants to go through and he's got an idea for a no-attack build. Long-time listener, first-time caller. After casually playing D3 at launch, I hadn't touched the game in years, but my buddy convinced me to play in Season 9, and I discovered your awesome podcast at the same time. In Season 9, I rolled a gag softcore wizard. I had no idea what I was doing, but still had a blast. The next season, I based on Leviathan's on-podcast goading, I played a hardcore demon hunter, reached Paragon 500-ish, had a blast. You can omit the above for brevity, as the meat and potatoes follows. So jumping now into Season 11, I like the concept of a hero so powerful that monsters would perish just from the hero being near, that the hero would never need to actually attack. Based on this concept, I decided to see how far I could push a build where the hero never attacks. After some research, I decided that a Crusader would probably be best due to the class's Thorn-specific skills and items. Only around Paragon 400-ish of the writing of this email, so my gear is not great, but I've already cleared a Greater Rift 40 without much effort and without even attacking. I used a roll-and set Crusader to progress through the seasonal chapters and challenges and farm items that I wanted for my no-attack build. And here are some of the pieces that I've used. I think Greater Rift 50 is doable without much effort, without ever having to attack an enemy. Any type of generic weapon with a Topaz. Most legendaries have on-hit effects, so you can't really think of a good weapon to fit into the build. The Thor Invoker's set pieces to go through and give the Thorns buff as well as the damage reduction via Belt of the Trove and whatnot. Tuacon's pieces mostly for the provide mostly unneeded resource of reduction for keeping Acrats up. Endless Walk set Unity, the Sanguinary Bracers, Votoius, Spiker, and then in the cube he's got the Heart of Iron, Furnace, and Convention of Elements. And then for skills, it mainly revolves around Iron Skin, Reflective Skin, Iron Maiden, etc. The hardest part of coming up with this build is that the most good weapons and skills all use an on-hit proc, which my character doesn't ever do. So he gets to ignore like stats and skills that have to revolve around critical strike or critical damage, as they don't apply to thorns. I wonders if he's overlooking any thorn-specific quirks as well, but he'd love to hear our guys' ideas around the theme and how other classes might work. Items I'm not thinking of, or no attack considerations that I'm not thinking of. Love the podcast.
Yeah, excellent. So I think when we last didn't read this email for the first time tonight, we had thought about the Necro, right? Because the Necromancer, it depends. Oh yeah, we were kind of trying to decipher how far can you stretch no attack.
Yeah. Is it is it, it's like, is it like you literally just standing there getting hit, or can you have your pets attack?
Mm-hmm. Because if that's the case, then there actually definitely would be stronger versions. Just taking the Necromancer and some of the Thorns builds out there. What I think the Necro has like GR 100. Is that safe to say with the
believe
Thorns
so,
pets?
with the Thorns Rathma. But it also, that's one of those ones where it's like it is a very make or break. The elites have to have like poison or molten or fire chains, something that will trigger it, really quick, because it's like it's like you just get your minions to stand in the area of effect things, and that's how they kill mobs.
Right, because they're taking just tons of hit checks with those. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hey, I mean, this guy seems like a patient enough man to try that out. So maybe that's another direction you take it. But I do definitely feel you on some of the just, you're not attacking, so therefore there are a lot of legendary powers with those on-hit effects or even legendary gems where it's like, well, that doesn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. So that's certainly a difficulty to overcome. But I think we were also trying to consider, too, like, how much buffing can you do? Like, are you able to support yourself? And I guess this was in the realm of pets as well too. Mm. If you have pets, how much can you support them? Like, cast a curse, or as long as you're not technically dealing damage, does it still count for the challenge? So
so because he is like using like Iron Skin, at least to like go through for the extra thorns damage and to draw them in so they are attacking him.
All right, so there's kind of like a utility buff kind of thing. So if you even branch from there, then certainly there's a little bit more, potential to bring other things into the fold that could help buff this up further. I mean, one thing I do wonder too is is there anything, maybe just the Invoker set being buffed up, but then again, actually no, it might help because the Invoker 2-piece set got buffed with its stacks that you get from things like blocking, which, you won't have to attack to block. Yeah. To deal more damage. So, no matter what, I think you probably go higher in the next patch by virtue of the buffs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Invokers is getting a buff, so that's something that could potentially, like, that already is just going to be able to push higher with it next. I can't think of anything that he's missing that would push it any further than where it's already at.
All right. I just wonder... I'm trying to think of... I wish I knew more about the wizard, because I'm thinking of the meteors, right? And like all this buffing that they did to meteors. And so if you had a Tau set, and I know that the meteors are triggered off of elements that are attached to skills. So is there a way to trigger, like say you have storm armor, right? And it routinely electrifies or lightnings an enemy, and then a lightning meteor would drop. I wonder how far you could get that to go, because you're not attacking, it's just your armor setting off an effect.
I don't know.
So yeah. Play around. We're kind of curious. Let us know if you do some more stuff with this. I like when people come with the little quirky things to do. It kind of reminds us of what we used to talk about back in the days, the D2 like pacifist mode and things like that. All sorts of ways to make the game interesting.
Giving yourself challenges, things that you can do within the framework of the game.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, well, we'll look to hear more on that one. And in the meantime, we'll move on to our next email here. This one comes in from Chandler from Friends. No, not really, though. But maybe. His name is Chandler. But Chandler is actually a fictional character. In any case, sup, fellas? It's getting late. Chandler here. I'm the tattoo guy. I guess you'd remember me from the Diablo Interior tattoos. So I heard the segment from Dread on the difference between the challenge and difficulty, and it got me thinking. Here is my conclusion as follows. Challenging content is that which requires focus and skill, but it still allows you to have mistakes. It's something that keeps you on your toes, but it will take you out if you lapse in concentration or make a large enough or too many mistakes. Difficulty content is that which takes challenge a step further. It is content that requires you to be nearly perfect. Here's what led me to this conclusion. I was trying to think of games existing where, in and of themselves, they're just difficult. When I thought of that, I thought of Ninja Gaiden and Dark Souls games. They came immediately to mind. That's because they allow for very little mistakes and they're extremely punishing. And if I bring it back to Diablo, which I've played not much in a very long time due to PoE, those 3 letters, there is very little difficult content in Diablo unless you make it so. Challenge rifts and greater rifts are challenging. However, the difficult content is being at the top of the leaderboards. To be top 10 to 20, you have little to no margin for error. Chandler. So this is an interesting approach to this, because I agree with some of the points, but I don't know that I would label it in the same way that he labels it. I think when I think of difficulty, because this is something that you guys had, like you had the solo show and Dread wrote in, and then I never really got to chime in. But when I think of difficulty, I do think of mainly just the setting within which whatever you're doing happens. So torment levels are difficulty, and they give you a base sort of check to put your character against. So if you're going to do torment 13, you know, it almost reminds me of the emails we used to get, like, how much DPS do I need? How much, you know, resistance and toughness do I need in order to survive an X difficulty?
How do I know that I'm ready for Torment 1?
Exactly, right? Can I make the jump? And so to me, that doesn't change, right? The difficulty there is static, and your character is moving and, you know, under it or above it at some point. And then challenge works its way in when you think more of like the greater rift system, because that continues to increase in difficulty, because now the standards are changing with each greater rift. But the challenge part there is now you're adding this timer thing, and you're adding this leaderboard thing. You're adding some elements where, based on your decisions, which is part of what Chandler's talking about here, the sort of perfection of play, based on your decisions, and that can go from gearing. Like, let's say you choose to optimize and augment your shadow set, and it turns out that UE grenades is actually going to be your best bet to be rank 1, then you just made a really bad choice, right? Because that was what you focused on. You focused on the wrong set all season.
Yeah.
To some degree, you've made it more challenging for yourself because you didn't give yourself the right choice, the right benefit to get into whatever the highest, you know, goal attainable is. And so I think that's kind of where, you know, you can certainly muddle and potentially, you know, shift definitions and have some debate on which is which or what crosses over into what. But when I do think of challenge, I think of ideas like challenge rifts, where don't think of the actual completion of the rift itself as a challenge. It's not that challenging to do it. You know, the difficulty might be being unfamiliar with the class, maybe, if you want to think of difficulty in a not so stringent, it's just these X rules that make up a difficulty. The difficulty in a challenge rift is this is the stagnant set and class that you have, and you have to learn that. But then the challenge comes from perfecting the gameplay within the challenge rift in order to get the fastest time. Repeating those circumstances over and over, dealing with the RNG of an elite moving to the left rather than the right, an orb thrown behind you instead of in front of you. Those are challenges that will make or break your, you know, sort of perfect play. So I do like kind of where Chandler comes from on this. And I feel like it's still, you know, the terms are terms, and we give them definitions and such, but they're always evolving, right?
Yeah, things, you know, the English language changes. So.
Right, and to some degree, the circumstances you're under can potentially change how you feel or how you understand those words too.
Yeah, yeah. You go from something being difficult to challenging just because it's like, oh, you got really bad mob selection, or everything's juggernaut, you know, something along those lines.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a great, yeah. That's great. So I'm sure this is one we can always come back to, and we'll probably have different ideas and thoughts on it. So, you know, keep it as a continuous string if this is something you want to continue to talk about.
Our next email here comes in from Ishmael. This one, Dear Ninebeard, here is my possible story for Diablo 4. I'm a big fan of the game since Diablo 1. I've also read the books that are companions to the game, from where I have inspired to write some stories. Diablo is a game that is usually based on the most recent story, but older stories, such as like the formation of the Anguirus Council or the creation of Sanctuary, like the Sin Wars and other things like that, are rarely mentioned. Please be honest and tell me what you think about my story, and if you have any chances to contact someone at the Diablo team inside Blizzard to show them my story, let me know. Thanks in advance. I guess just to go through and definitely answer that, if you have any type of writing things, there's actually like the lore and story forums on the official website. That's the quickest and easiest route in order to go through and get anything, shown to the powers that be, because they do literally check every single post. I know people always love to go through and complain that, oh, you don't read the forums, and that they literally read every post. And I'm not going to go through and read the whole thing, because it is a couple pages long, that he has kind of like a rough outline of the story for like Diablo 4. And it's one of those ones where it's like it actually takes place like after of course it takes place after the events of Diablo 3, but then it's like a time travel arc. So you actually have to go back in time to save the future. And it's pretty interesting. And it's just one of those ones where it's I don't know, like, I'm not a big fan of time travel stories and everything that does to like the timeline and continuity and all that. But he does, it's the things I did like about the story is that it ties everything back into like the World Stone, and like kind of like goes through and then refocuses on like the major players like the Anguirus Council, Diablo, Baal, Mephisto, instead of being just like the prime evil. And so it all just kind of like ties into like some of these like core characters and elements. And it's more just going through and like human Tyrael going and talking to Angel Tyrael and trying to convince him of the path that he has to go down in order to actually like save Sanctuary, and that like Tyrael is Tyrael's own conscious. It's like I am the result of the decisions that you make, and you have to be confronted with that. And there's also, like going through like the little tie-in at the end that like Tyrael, when Tyrael goes back to try and come back to present day, that he actually comes back earlier and ends up being like Deckard Cain's father, and it's like, now you're going a little bit too far there. Now you're going too far. But because that is one thing, it's like you never actually learn who Deckard Cain's father is in the novel The Order. Like, it was a mystery. So it is a nice like little tie-in and segue in there. But yeah, that was just jumping into the shark a little bit too much. But I think like some of the elements in your story and such could be done without the time travel, more or less, of going back and refocusing on like the World Stone, the Anguirus Council, and the general flow and things without the time travel. Because that just makes everything needlessly complicated. But if you wanted to actually go back and do a story back then, I mean, that's something that could still happen. Like, there's a lot of the stuff with like the Mage War, or other events during the Sin War, haven't been put into text, and there's things that could be done. A lot of the things, the Hunt for the Three, the Dark Exile, there are a lot of these major events out there in Diablo history that haven't fully been described. We just get little bits and pieces.
I can listen to you talk about lore stuff all day, man.
Well, just you wait. There may or may not be a new lore article coming out sometime soon.
Oh,
yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah. And oh man, I cannot tell you how much fun I had writing that one.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I cracked out. I actually still have like all my reference. I like cracked out some books and was going through and like reading some stuff here, like just to go through and make sure that I was getting things right, because the memory can be a little bit faulty at times.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. Things to look forward to.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. Sweet. Actually, that reminds me, I need to think of my next thing to read on my annual Leviathan Reads a Book. Oh my gosh, I just thought about that. It's so sad. But yeah, the last time I read anything was last BlizzCon. Jesus Christ.
And you read the Book of Cain and the Book of Tyrael, right?
Yep. Knocked them both out.
If you could fit the time in for two stories, Kingdom of Shadow and one of my favorite Diablo stories, Moon of the Spider.
Trying to see if I have them on my shelf. I think I do. All right. Note to self: Amazon Prime, get it going. Get those here in a couple of days before head out.
Yeah. Or if you want a non-Diablo recommendation, War Beast from the Warhammer Realmgate series is amazing. That book could legitimately get you into like Warhammer.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Because I need another expensive hobby.
Totally.
Yep. I'm swimming in cash over here.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, before you convince me to play Warhammer, let me read another email. This one comes in from our good friend Doug, or soon-to-be good friend, because he wants a clan request. Recently, I left a competitive clan because I just play a little more casually nowadays, and my main focus currently is the seasonal stash tab. Season 12 is going to be my last one. And I've been playing some non-season as time permits and then I plan to play some non-season as time permits after I get my tab. I am now Paragon 1340, and I only play softcore. Just looking for a clan where I can play with others around this Paragon so I don't feel like an anchor, nor am I the one that's carrying the other anchors. I hope you will consider me joining your clan, and here's my profile. It links his profile, says thanks for your consideration. I haven't seen a request come through yet. Maybe you're waiting for us to read this on the podcast, but definitely go ahead. Send a request. Like Nine was mentioning in the outro last episode, we have a ton of spots. There's a little bit of malaise that hit Season 11, so we've cleared some things out. We could even actually free up more based on inactivity rules, but yeah, we have a decent amount. So before Season 12 gets here and before the next patch gets here, which I imagine will usher in quite a few requests, yeah, do it now. Do it now.
Do it now. Get down.
Get to the clan.
Get to the clan if you want to live.
So yeah, go ahead. If anyone else out there is an enterprising individual that feels like abandoning their clan to join our lovely clan, or if you just don't have one and you want a place to live, we got you covered. Plenty of spots for now.
Yep, it's always the seasoner opener when all those spots fill up.
Yeah, without fail.
Yeah, and then our next and final email for the show, this one comes in from D3 Archaea. Archaea? Archaea? We're going to go with that one.
Yeah, looks good.
I'm sure that I'm butchering it. I'm very sorry. But he writes, "Hey guys, I'm a big fan of the podcast. I usually listen on iTunes. Just caught episode 125. We have caught up. We've caught up. And wanted to respond to the letter that you received about the PS4 play. While the person did sound like they did some work, I'm having a hard time believing that they did. On Season 10, there were over 300,000 players on the PS4. And they had a very active groups on Reddit, Facebook, and in the PSN communities. As you said, it is cyclical, so there are many more players at the beginning of the season than at the end. However, it is still easy to find a group at the end of Season 10. Those who are looking for PS4 players on Reddit, be sure that you go through and you post on RD3PS4. There aren't all that many posts on there, but a lot of people read it. Also, once you get one or two friends from there, it'll just snowball. Because people who respond to the posts on there also have friends, and you'll get to play with a lot of different players. Facebook groups can work the same way. I don't really use Facebook that much, so I don't know the names of what groups are popular over there. But D3 on PS4 is worldwide, so you can play with people from Asia, Europe, North America, anywhere in the world. Lag can sometimes be an issue when you are playing across the globe, but it usually isn't too bad. I really appreciated your comment about investing time and effort and wanted to put another spin on it. Many people seem to think that you should be able to just put out looking for a group and find a perfect pushing group or whatever else it is that you're looking for right off the bat. The truth is, it doesn't work that way, even on PC, as I'm sure you guys will attest, and that is the truth.
Okay.
It takes time and it's worth investing in other players. I spent a significant amount of time offering power levels and other boosts to players within Season 10. Some of the people that I boosted ended up being long-term teammates, others I never saw again. The point is, the more players that are playing, and the more of them that know each other, the easier it is that it's going to be to put a group together. Don't get me wrong, in-game clans and communities would be a huge boon for D3 on consoles, and the lack of them definitely hurts. But players who really want to find a group can, unless they shut themselves out with unrealistic expectations. I feel the need to say, for full disclosure, that Season 11 was going great right up until Destiny 2 came out. I would say that then about 60 to 70% of the player base left for Destiny 2, and a bunch of the others have left for other reasons. D3 on PS4 is a ghost town right now, I'm sure it will come back strong for Season 12, though, and the diehards that are still playing, come join us.
One of us.
Yeah, the other topic I wanted to respond to was the call to remove supports from the game. I get the feeling that most players who want supports removed either are solo-only players or have never played in a good group. Those people seem to think that having support players or being support players is easy mode and removes the fun or challenge from the game. This is definitely not true. Even with a ZDPS monk around, you still die quite easily in high GRs, and the Necro has made support characters even more challenging. All the Necro pushing builds, both DPS and support, are more active and reactive than in the previous meta. It would also be very difficult to remove supports from the game by way of itemization. What can you take away to remove support classes? Lorik's Crown, the Aquila Kuros, the entire Innis set, Istvan's Pride, Cassius? Pretty much every item used by a support character is also used by other DPS characters, with the exception of possibly the Oculus Ring. I believe that removing supports would actually make the game less skill intensive, not more. All group play would be about having so much DPS that you kill everything before it can touch you, there would be so much less concern for positioning, grouping, etc. Top clears would be 10 or more greater rifts lower than what it would be without supports, because as soon as monsters live long enough to attack you, progress is done. Fishing would be worse, because you'd have less ability to skip mobs, less movement speed. Support classes also provide an entry port for late starters. It's much easier to gear for them and still be useful in higher GRs with weak gear and less Paragon. Without supports, every player who doesn't start at the beginning of the season is completely shut out, unless they bot. I believe that supports are healthy for the game, adding variety and fun. I've got plenty more to say on these topics, but I don't expect you to spend an entire show just reading my email, so I'll end it there. D3 Archaea. And by all means, send us in more ideas. I would love to hear more from you.
Yeah, I like this guy. I was going to go ahead and say I have a little man crush on D3RK right now, because everything that he was saying, I was just like bobbing my head over here like, yes, I actually agree. One of the things I was thinking about was when he said, how do you even remove supports? You know, we had that one idea, I think it was last show, where we were like, hey, what happens if you have a, you know, back in the day when we were dreaming of seasons with funky results or funky rules, if only one set dropped or something, right? Then maybe you might have a season where, yeah, you can't DPS with an Innis set, but you also can't support with an Innis set either. And what would that look like? I 100% agree with D3RK's point in that supports do add complexity. As much as people want to say, oh, it's so easy having to support, like all these groups go higher, etc. You know, when you do get to the higher levels of pushing and just thinking about like our hardcore adventures with it, there's a lot of communication. It really starts to feel almost like a raid encounter or just tactical warfare. You have to position yourself perfectly. The monk is talking to the witch doctor. Like everyone has to move accordingly or else the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, that was like a couple weeks into the season when I was playing my Necromancer with you, Lala, and No One's Minion. You know, it's like I wasn't privy to what was supposed to be done, and so No One's Minion like started getting mad at me because I kept messing up with her positioning, and I was causing her to proc because she was having to like move out and, you know, reposition and place the sanctuaries and stuff like that. It's just, you know, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think what people probably see is the successful clears that make it to Reddit or whatever. And, you know, when success happens, everything is lining up relatively well. But that's a practice group that has probably tried that same combination of stuff and attempts at that greater rift for how many attempts, you know? You're only seeing the success rate, but you're not seeing all the times where they're talking it up and trying to make this thing work and failing or, you know, learning along the way. So I agree that actually if you were to remove supports, it'd kind of make the game more one-dimensional, perhaps. And when you actually think about what it would look like, I almost imagine a world where like it's just 4 UE multi-shot demon hunters just trying to kill everything on the screen before you even gets close to you, you know? It's kill or be killed. It's kill or you know, don't get hit. And I don't know. I feel like you get to play the game a little bit more when supports are involved. So I definitely agree with that. It's also fascinating, just the first part of the email, to hear about the console side of things, because it's a world neither of us experience all that much. And even seeing I don't know where he got that figure from for the 300,000 players, but that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's rather shocking. So
that definitely is.
I appreciate seeing stuff like that. And it also brought to mind the idea that console releases actually really do affect the seasons for, not just our side of things, because there will be some PC players that picked up Destiny and went to go play on their consoles, but of course, console seasons.
Yeah, I think you have to wait until October 20, what is it? I think it's October 24th for that one.
Yeah,
when
that's
Destiny comes out, and that's one in particular when Destiny 2 comes out for PC, because it's launching on Battle.net, so your friends list is going to be Destiny.
Man, and imagine if the patch does come out that day, like we're pegging it for.
Yeah.
We're going to find out who the true Diablo players are.
Sorry.
You're playing Destiny, aren't you?
I didn't even think about that, to be honest, till just now.
All right, guys, so I'm looking for a new co-host for Westmarch Workshop. Please send an email to...
I did that joke on this show.
Well, I'm doing it too.
Oh, God. Well, that was one thing that actually... They had the new social tools for the Battle.net that they're going through and doing right now.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
It actually kind of caught me off guard, because I'm going and I'm scrolling down. It's like, well, what can I do? What Diablo portraits are there that I can go through and check? And I'm scrolling down. Okay, Overwatch. Okay, World of Warcraft. We got some Heroes of the Storm stuff. There's some StarCraft there. Okay, we got some Diablo stuff. Scrolling down. Who are they're Destiny avatars. That game is coming here, isn't it?
Integration.
Yep. And I just want to take the moment to go through and say this. Blizzard, you forgot the Necromancer avatar. You have every other Diablo class represented on there except the Necromancer.
Oops.
What the hell?
Well, we do know the fiasco that was the Necro portraits and how it plagued the community, so maybe this is, one oversight.
The tech just wasn't there.
Hopefully it will be.
Yeah.
Because it is still in beta.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't even, I totally blanked on, or just forgot. Yeah, but
we actually had some stuff to talk about. I mean, we can go through and talk about that one more on the next episode, because it is still in beta. Not everyone might not have it yet.
You're right. Let's save it.
Yeah, we'll save that.
We'll teaser.
We'll shelve that one.
I like it.
We'll come back to it, and we do have items of the week. We do have our of
the week. Quickly.
Here we go, because we are pushing the timer on this one, so we're going to go through and try and rush through this. Guff goes through and sends us in this Primal Dainty's binding. Don't know if she's still in chat, but Dainty, we found your belt if you'd like to go through and pick it up.
Dainty, please come to the front of the supermarket.
And this bad boy clocks in at 650 intelligence, 650 vitality, 130 resistance to all elements, 15% life, and has been re-rolled for increasing the golden health load pickup radius by 2 yards. And of course, the legendary bonus of you gain an official 50% damage reduction when there's an enemy afflicted by your Decrepify. Staple in almost every Necromancer build that's out there.
And I like the globe roll there too, just because you do rely on those orbs.
Yep. And like we mentioned on previous episodes, depending upon your overall stats, keeping the all-res as opposed to armor on the belt isn't that bad of a decision, depending upon how far you're going to go and how much you're going to push your Paragon and your main stat.
Mm-hmm.
And then our next and final item of the week for this week comes in from Shepard. See you there. This one is Hillenbrand's Training Sword. This primal ancient legendary Templar relic. You don't see many of these. But
just heard you utter those words before.
All right. Some people are going to be that aren't watching this on YouTube or Twitch. If you're on the audio version, you're probably scratching your head. What the hell is a Hillenbrand's training sword? Well, this one is one of the Templar relics, and this came in with 1,000 strength, 1,000 vitality, 130 resistance to all elements, 24,000 life per hit, and monster kills grant 260% extra experience with the legendary effect of, when equipped on a follower, reduces the cooldown of all follower skills by 50%. Yeah. Check out that bad boy.
I was there when he got this, and he said this was the first primal he got on his hardcore side of things for the season.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing.
Welcome
that
to
really
hardcore.
Is. Yeah. Isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth your time?
But this still isn't as bad as your cooldown one for the Scoundrel.
For the Scoundrel, right?
Never, ever.
Because that one, especially if you're gearing at the beginning of the season and you haven't found... you just haven't had the luck to find a Templar relic that prevents him from dying. At least with that one, he heals you more often and stuns the enemies faster. You know, the Scoundrel. Oh my god, does he do anything?
He's gonna disappear more
right.
times than usual.
Yeah. Oh, buddy.
To a cloud of smoke.
Yep.
And deal 50% weapon damage with his crossbow. Jeez,
yep.
Poor Scoundrel. He's you know what's funny? Scoundrel's the funniest, but man, he's the lamest.
Yeah. To answer your question, Longshot, yes, that Templar relic is better than my primal Scoundrel token. But with that, it's going to go through and take us to the end of the episode here. I will go through and say we did get a couple new 5-star reviews on iTunes, and I definitely thank you for that. No actual written reviews, they were just the 5-star ratings, and we really appreciate that. Those ratings just help us get seen more if someone's going around on iTunes and just looking for a video game or Diablo podcast. So we definitely appreciate any feedback that you guys give or ratings that you give us over there on iTunes. We are still on Twitcher. I think we're on the Google Music service too. I think we've expanded out to that. Of course, you can always go through and find our episodes on YouTube. It's the BlizzPro YouTube channel. You can go through and check us out there. And of course, we stream here live on Twitch every other Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/BlizzPro. If you want to go through, come in and join the live show, hop in with the pre-chat, post-chat, and everything else in between. While you're here, if you like the content that we provide, go ahead and hit that follow button so you can go through and check out a lot of the other great shows that we do here over at BlizzPro. We've got Monday nights is Well Met, our Hearthstone podcast. Tuesday nights is Heroes Power Hour, covering everything Heroes of the Storm. And Thursday nights is the Payload Overwatch podcast, if you want to go through and check that out. And if you like what we do here, or like what you see, feel free to go through and subscribe or use your Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime subscription to go through and go and subscribe to the channel for free. That goes through and helps cover the hosting costs of our show and everything else that we do here at BlizzPro. You can also find most of the articles that we talked about and more on tonight's show at diablo.blizzpro.com. You can also go and find us. We are in-game. We are the BlizzPro clan. So you can go through, join us, and like we mentioned, when we come into every new season, the spots normally fill up. But right now we've got some openings. If you don't want to leave your current clan, feel free to go through and join Westmarch Workshop or in-game community, so that way we can still chat and hang out, in between clans. We do have a Discord server. It's discord.gg/BlizzPro. Like I mentioned before, I usually try to hop on late at nights after work as I go through and play a couple games of Heroes or Hearthstone here and there. Definitely feel free to hop on in and chat with me. You can follow us. You can follow us individually at I am at 9ballgamer on Twitter. I am also at twitch.tv/9ball. Depending upon streaming, like tonight wasn't bad. Tonight wasn't bad. I've only have a little over 1,000 frames dropped, which I guess is a good thing. Sorry,
Nice.
I just checked it again. I'm at 2,000 frames drop, so maybe not as much of a good thing. But yeah, who knows? We'll see. We'll definitely see about the season opener. And of course, you can follow my good friend Leviathan here at LeviathanD3 on Twitter and at twitch.tv/Leviathan111, as he's got your regular weekly episodes that you go through doing your streaming thing there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And with that, that's going to bring us out to the end of the episode, unless you've got anything else to add in there.
Well, I'll ask you this. If 9-ball drops a frame in the 9th frame, is it a turkey?
I get that reference.
Hey.
Get that reference.
And didn't you say you were good at bowling?
I'm not good. Not good. Because my best game that I've ever bowled, I think, was 197. But I used to, when I was living up in Jupiter, used to make a regular habit on Monday nights bowling. Need to try and revive that at some point, because it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
I feel like it'd be hard to bowl on Jupiter.
Everything just, like, weighs you down.
Is this part of the show?
Yes. This is part of the show. This is part of the show.
So this is part of the show.
Yeah, that is part of the show.
But is it part of the show?
It was part of the show.
Okay.